welcome to... I forgot the name of the podcast. Welcome to Under the Iron Flag, a podcast network where our podcast is called... We just want to talk about One Piece.
Hey!
Hey! I am Iron Aggro, your captain. Who knows what he's doing? There, if you can see over there, Lucian Graves.
Oh, hello, it's me, your vice captain.
And over there, you can see, and by see I mean here, Saflam, our navigator.
Hi.
And we're gonna be covering the second part of the Alabasta arc. I think that's what it's called.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. True.
I see. I didn't think of an intro, so we're just gonna get into it.
Whoa.
Was
that your intro? The planned intro was I don't know the intro?
Oh, yeah, that was pretty much. You know what else? I remembered what it was. So good news. No need to rank anything again because we all already know what the ranking is. So
yeah,
there's no problem.
Cool.
The end.
Yeah, true.
It's the best.
It's a good one.
There's no competition.
Yeah.
All the other arcs are terrible, like in comparison.
Yeah, undisputed number one champion of the world, Alabasta.
I didn't used to agree with that. Like I told you guys last time, Alabasta was such a hard arc for me. But this really just put it into perspective. It is the best. We don't need to rank this episode. Yes.
I have an idea for later, though, so look forward to that.
Oh, God, I hate you.
It's okay. It's okay. We'll get to it.
Real quick before we get too into things,
no.
Is there anything you guys forgot last week that you want to talk about this week? Because there's one thing I didn't talk about last week that I did want to mention this week. Was there anything you guys forgot last week?
I remember when I sent it to you guys the picture. So in the scene where the Sanji saves the crew from banana gators and all that stuff, Crocodile and Miss All Sunday come back into the room and they see Mr. 3 on the floor and he has a little paper on on his chest and it says, "See you later, dumbass gator."
Don't expect me to remember the name of any of Barak works, or however you say it.
Barak.
Any Barak. Yep. Don't expect me to know any of them.
Iraq's sister country, Barak.
I got Crocodile and Robin, and that's it.
I'm just saying that's my favorite line in the entire series.
Really?
Yes.
Oh my god.
And it's just Mr. Prince. It's signed Mr. Prince. And you don't even see Crocodile's face, but you know what face he's making. That's what I missed last time.
For me, there was something that I wanted to talk about and I totally forgot. So regarding Pell, right? Pell is his devil fruit makes him a bird, right? And he flies around with these like machine guns. And I can't find anything about this online, so it's definitely just my own speculation. But I wonder if Pell's devil fruit ability and him being so similar to almost like a fighter plane and like him using these like machine guns was at all inspired by JoJo's Part 5. So one of the stands in Part 5 is called Aerosmith, and it's this small toy-like fighter plane that uses machine guns. And Aerosmith made its first manga appearance about 4 or 5 years before Pell. So it could absolutely just be a coincidence, but it's definitely something I just wanted to mention since as I was reading the chapter, I was like, oh my god, that is very reminiscent of Aerosmith, and it totally slipped my mind last week. So I just wanted to make sure I threw it out there as I hadn't seen anyone else talk about that. And I was like, man, I wonder if that is, inspired or just totally coincidental.
I feel like if anything in Alabasta would be inspired by something from JoJo, it would be from Part 3. Like,
Yeah.
Pell looks a little bit like the Falcon Pet Shop, whatever his name is.
Pet Shop,
Falcon, yeah. At the end of Part 3. If anything, I feel like he looks more like that bird from Part 3 than... I see where you're getting the similarities from, but I feel like a
Yeah.
bit of a stretch.
No, for sure. Yeah. It just, as I was reading it, it sprang to mind.
Oh no, you
But
guys are gonna make me do a JoJo podcast after this.
even
We
I don't want to read
totally
all of
are.
JoJo.
Read.
I'm not gonna read it. No, I'd rather watch it.
Look, I think that'd be a
Because that's
great
the
idea, and then when you get to part 3 and everyone would turn off after I state my opinions.
we could just skip the filler in part 3.
But all
Just
of it
do all
is
the important
filler.
stuff.
It's all of it. Okay, let's go on before
Let's
That's
talk
JoJo
about
fans
One
leave.
Piece on the One Piece podcast. So yeah, Agra, what do you want to start with
I have
for
to
this
start?
week?
Oh no. I didn't take notes, I just took screenshots.
Of course.
You know what's a cool screenshot? When I'm okay, so to be clear, it has been at this point a week and a half since I read the first parts of the chapter.
Mhm.
So the early exact notes are not, the details of what order everything happened in, not exact. But there is the shot I really liked that I took a screenshot of when they have the plan to separate and all be wearing the hoods to make them all
Yeah.
look like they're Vivi. That's always a great plan.
I love that. That's one of my favorite moments.
Especially when the
That's
plan...
actually.
You go.
Go ahead.
No, you.
I was just gonna say that's actually one of the reasons I like that 180 popped up in my head as a good stopping point, is because in my mind 181 coming up with like all of them going to all different parts and distracting Baroque works is one of the most like fun parts of the arc for me, and I think it's such a fun way to like reintroduce part 2 of Alabasta. So that was another one of the reasons I kind of wanted to stop at 180 last week. So yeah, but sorry, go ahead.
I especially like the like that plan is obviously a very common plan used in media. It's a good plan, but there's always a difference between it's a good plan and it's a great plan when of the like all the hooded people who are like could possibly be the one spread out, and actually none of them are the one. The one is off somewhere else doing something
One
else
of them
that
is
we've
just a
never been
camel.
seen. Yes. I forgot
That was good.
about that. Okay. Again, I do like this. This is the best arc. Let's get to complaint number 1.
Okay.
There are
course.
both too many characters and not enough characters.
That what?
Okay. So, for instance,
I don't understand
the
you.
camel. Do you understand? You know the camel, right?
Yeah.
What a great character. I love this hero shot of the 6 of them. Zoro, Nami, Dog, Usopp, Sanji, and
Dog.
Camel.
Dog.
My favorite. I
Did you
love
say dogs
Camel.
for top?
Look,
Yes, that was
yes.
what he said dog for. It was Chopper.
Yes,
You say chopper. You don't say dog.
This is a running bit.
Dog.
But Camel. I love Camel. What a good character. Like, it feels like there should be another person there or something. Whereas, then we spend multiple chapters fighting random guy and random lady who I don't care about.
No, wrong.
There's lots of random guy and random ladies that I could be talking about anyway.
Who are you talking about?
I don't know. I forget that.
He's talking about any of the fights with the crew, and he's wrong about all of them.
What?
No.
You don't like them?
Usopp and Chopper's fight against whoever they were, not good. The one
Oh,
fight
I
like.
disagree.
Oh my god.
I liked the dog gun.
I will go
do
into
like
why I so
Lasso-
heavily disagree with you
Lasso the
after.
dog gun. But
Okay, right?
Hi, Negro.
Aren't those implications really cool that like a non-living being can eat a devil fruit?
I honestly, at this point, it was assumed. To be honest.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of one of those things of, like...
They fed a gun a fruit.
Yeah.
You thought that could happen?
I guess I didn't think it would happen. It just wasn't surprising. It's like, oh yeah,
All
that
right.
makes sense.
That's fair. I mean, I guess, yeah, if you're using the world's logic, you can sort of extract that that is something that could happen.
How much of a cartoon, how much of a Looney Tunes cartoon is this? And it's enough that I just went, yeah, that's fair. If someone does the
Fair.
Roadrunner run, I'll go, yes, that happened to canon. Like if someone does the old Wile E. Coyote and runs on the air for a while before falling, I will say yes, that's how physics work in this
Uh-huh.
world. That's not a gag. It's just how the universe works.
Yeah, fair. That's a good mindset to go into One Piece with.
Okay, I think
Just
that's
accept the physics of the world and
yeah. That
move
happened a
on.
while ago.
Yeah.
Well,
Um,
I think that fight is my only major complaint. There might be some small ones that I can't think of right now. Oh, Nami's
mhm.
fight went on a little too long. That's it. The end.
I hate you.
Mm,
You're the worst.
I don't like gag fights.
Mutiny!
I,
Mutiny, mutiny, mutiny! I'm throwing you
I
overboard. This is
agree.
bullshit. Nami's fight is the best. I will
no.
explain. I want to
I
get
agree
into
with
Nami's fight
Lucian. We
later.
need to change captains. This is blasphemy.
I'm the one who hasn't
Seriously, how
experienced it
can you think?
before. I have the most clout.
Uh,
Um, that being
Okay,
said,
first I need to
I
say a
want
couple
your
things.
opinions on the fight. Zoro's fight was very good. I liked his fight.
that's fair. I did like this
Inagro,
fight too.
Yes.
seriously, you should never come in the vicinity of my sister because all things you said, she would murder you for it. So keep your distance.
Dog.
Stop! No, especially that. That's like the worst thing you can do because she loves Chopper.
Honestly,
um,
I just,
but I have
you know.
written extensive notes on each fight.
Oh boy.
So I
Same.
think we want to go to me last.
I
Or do we want to go
to be
fight by
clear,
fight?
I just want to state I did not intend to not take notes. I just got like 20 chapters in and then hadn't taken notes, and
Mhm.
then
That
decided to
happens
not
with
take
One Piece.
notes. So
Yeah,
That,
that's fair.
yeah.
If
okay.
it means you're more like immersed in reading
Yeah,
it,
the
that's
one thing
fine.
I told Lucian, like in between recordings, was that this was the first time that I finished reading what we had to read for the week, and when no, I want to wait. No, I want to read more right now.
He
Like
was
all,
disappointed at finding out how long the next arc was. He was like, "Oh, it's only 19 chapters." But then I told him the arc after that was like 70 or 80
yeah.
something, and he was like, "Oh, cool."
You're
Oh,
Well,
really
sorry,
excited for it.
66.
That's
well, yeah, like
awesome.
I've enjoyed the series, but this is the first time that I've gone. No, I have to keep reading. I have to know what happens next.
Hmm.
I
But
feel like you're not gonna like the next saga. If you like Alabasta so much,
Really?
man. Yeah, a lot of people that like Alabasta don't like the next arc in my experience. I don't know,
Huh.
like
I don't know. I
I
haven't
so
talked
think
to many other One Piece readers or
overall,
watchers.
I don't know about um like it individually, like it can go up and down in quality, but overall there's been a steady pace in progression of being better that I've liked.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think it
Has its ups and
like
downs, but
you can't really
like
say it's
the
just taken
average.
like a nosedive at any point in time, you
Mm-hmm,
know.
mm-hmm.
yeah, for me, Alabasta has always been rough because of what I talked about last time. But I've always liked this part of Alabasta where everybody fights, and then Luffy versus Crocodile, of course, and then like the lore dump at the end of it and stuff like that. So I've always liked this part, but the fact that part one was fixed for me in the manga, it just made this part so much better. And I actually cried at the end of the arc.
Oh,
You
same.
know,
Same.
I did. I'd never cried before when I saw that Vivi left. I was always like, oh, it sucks, I know, and stuff like that. But this time, I actually teared up,
Okay, just for
which is
reference,
like,
in the future when we do what we're going to do at the end a bit, I was gonna wait, but we're not gonna do that since it's relevant. When at the end of this episode, we rank the Straw Hats for ourselves individually, not as a group. Don't worry, it's
oh,
fine. Uh,
oh
Vivi
God.
always going to be there. I don't care if by the time we catch up, there will be over 1,000 chapters without her in it, probably, or at least without her being part of the crew. She's always going to be on that list
Can I
forever.
tell you something?
Mm-hmm.
Oda
On the wiki,
considers
she's
her,
on the Straw Hat Pirates page.
Good.
and Oda considers
Good.
her a member.
Good.
Yeah, as does the community. So,
As she should be.
yeah. Uh, the wiki calls her a member.
Forever.
She's
Forever.
she's canonically, according to Oda, she's the 13th member of the Straw Hats. I'm
13.
just putting that
13?
out there. Yep.
I need to do
Because
some
they each,
counting.
I assumed there were only.
they
Wait,
each,
I thought there were only going to be
because they
10.
each have a number associated with them. They each have a number associated. So Zoro is considered because
Be
remember when
careful.
each member joins, they have a number.
No.
Oh, of course you don't. I noticed this in the East Blue Saga when we did like a look back. I said that the third and second are named chapters because uh, the chapter which that says the third is the chapter where Sanji joins the crew, and the chapter that
Oh,
says the
yes, I remember
second
you
is
mentioning
the
this.
chapter where Nami joins the crew. So they all have numbers based on what number they join the
Like
crew. So
San,
Zoro's
me.
1, Nami is 2, Sanji is 3, Usopp is 4, Chopper is canonically
Make sure to
5.
stop.
I'm stopping,
Okay.
stopping.
Well, you can say
And
Robin.
um
What is
and this
Zoro?
is
Sorry, go ahead.
and yes, Robin is 6. So they're all numbered, and in the Vivre cards, which is like extra information about all the characters that got published a while back, Vivi is assumed the 13th member. Like that's her number
13.
in the crew.
Okay,
Yes.
this is okay. So I'm gonna let you know this is very exciting for me because I thought, based on Luffy saying he needed 10 members of his crew, that like I knew about, or I know about with everything I have and everything I knew. I do still know about whoever Law is in Skeleton Man, which means there was one member I didn't know about, but now there are 3, so I'm excited.
So yeah, so they and she's also her dad is the 12th king of Alabasta. So when she becomes queen, she will be the 13th queen of Alabasta.
Mm-hmm.
Just a
Oh,
little
huh.
more number stuff out there.
Mangakas and their 13s, a very popular number.
Um, so yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's it. That's all my spiel about Vivi. I don't even know how I started talking about that. Yeah, but are we
uh,
gonna start talking about the fights, y'all? Y'all?
Y'all.
which was your guys' like favorite fight of the arc? Like, so Edgar, you said it was Zoro for you. Why was
No,
that
no,
your
not my
favorite fight?
favorite. Not my favorite. I meant
Oh, sorry.
I thought we were only
Okay,
going to
of
be
the
talking
crew member fights, of the crew member
of
fights,
the
which was your
3
favorite?
crew member fights, the 3 of them, right?
3.
Okay, no,
Well, I
we
would
are
count
counting
Nami's
Crocodile.
separately.
Wait.
No. So like, Okay.
Oh wait, Sanji
Sanji
had his
versus
own
Bon
fight. I
Clay.
forgot Sanji had his
Usopp
fight.
and Chopper against Mr. Four and Miss
Oh,
Merry
Sanji had the
Christmas.
best fight. Why'd I forget about that?
Really?
Yes, that's the one where
I
he
like
fought.
Sanji's fight, but
He fought the. Oh
I
man,
thought you
okay.
didn't like gag fights.
It's the one I forgot to be honest. So maybe it's not the best, but thinking about it, it's the best fight. That's the one where they fought and then they like came to a truce and then he kicked him in the face.
yes.
Okay, yeah, that's the best one.
Okay.
That was with
I'm
the
not gonna
guy
like give you a
I
hard
can't remember the
time,
name
but
of who can clone himself.
Bon Clay.
Or not clone. Yeah, okay, that's him. I forget his name every time.
Bonchan.
Never gonna remember his name ever. Is he
I
dead?
can finally call him
Is he
Bonchan.
dead now? Okay.
I
Never
We don't
mind. It's
know.
fine. I never dude, you thought about it for a second. It's fine. You can stop talking. Just don't say anything. There was a split second where you said nothing.
I'm just here so I don't get fined.
uh, what was your favorite fight, Lucian?
Nami versus Miss Doublefinger.
Boo.
For sure. It's okay. Nami, her climate baton, or climate attacked, whatever like version, whatever translation.
They call it a
I
baton.
yeah, the version I've always heard is the climate baton on like the Crunchyroll subs and the like translations I've read. But
Ooh, I want to
climate
throw
baton,
up.
climate attacked. Uh, it's one of my favorite weapons like ever in anything. Um, like you know, even the gags early in the fight, they work because of the payoff later on, right? Like she uses the sprinklers to make the air moist for her cloud, and then the second payoff later on, she uses like her tornado attack. Just initially the 2 birds come out, right? And then her and Doublefinger are like, oh great, just another party trick. And then it ends up finishing off double finger. You know, it's one of the coolest weapons ever. It's a weapon only Nami can use. Um, she just has this innate sense of the weather. Her incredible talent as a navigator. It
Does she
allows her
keep
to like
this?
locally control the weather. Yeah, of course.
Okay.
It's so cool. It's one of the coolest
It's
weapons in anything
cool.
ever.
Okay,
I love it.
it's cool, but I feel like it's just trying to keep the non-fighter and make her be able to fight because it's a shonen and we need everyone to fight. And that wouldn't be a problem if it wasn't for the obvious fact that she will never ever be anywhere near as good as anyone else on the crew in a fight. I don't know.
Well, I mean,
it's one of those like it's one of those potential issues that I go, I don't know how they're gonna do with that. Maybe it could be cool. Maybe she'll win fights, but
yeah, I guess
everything
I won't.
about it makes me go, she's just gonna lose a bunch, and someone else is gonna come in and save her probably. But that's not now.
I won't
That's
respond to
in
that.
future.
Uh huh. The Sakura problem,
Now now we have the it was used as a gag too much, so I didn't care when the pop off happened.
See, for me, like, it was used as a gag in the early chapters, but then, one, I was just excited to see it. Like, this is easily one of my favorite weapons in anything ever. Like, the ability to control the weather is obviously super overpowered and cool in anything. But for Nami to have that ability is incredible, you know? So it feels like she's complete now to me. Like, Nami never felt complete before because she didn't have it. You know, it's like now she feels like her complete character is here. She has her weapon. Uh, she's here. Nami is here. What about you, Saflam?
My favorite. Should I talk about Nami for a bit, or my favorite
Sure.
fight?
Yeah.
So with Nami, so in the anime, the color of her claim attack is blue.
Hmm.
It's not red. In the manga, it's red, and I love it so much more in that color. It's so much better in that color because it matches her dress too, which is just like, as a girl who has to wear nice clothes and match everything all the time, I appreciated that. I appreciate her weapon matching her outfit. In the sense of it being like a gag fight and her not being able to be as good as the others, I think the thing is she noticed that about herself, and that's why she asked Usopp to make this weapon for her. And like Lucian said, she is the only one who can use this weapon because she's the only one who understands the weather that well. Like it's not like Storm from the X-Men where she can just raise her hands and storm
Now
clouds
that'd
come
be
in or whatever.
cool.
I mean, that is cool, but what's
OP,
cooler to
but
me
cool.
is that she's using her brain. She's like, man, this I'm in such a disadvantage because of this desert heat. And then she thinks about it and she's like, wait, that's actually not a disadvantage. I can use that to my advantage.
Hmm.
And I really like fights like that where the person like uses their brain to win the fight. I mean, and it's why my favorite fight is Usopp and Chopper versus Miss Merry Christmas
That's a great one. That's number 2 for me.
and Mr. Four because it would have been Zoro. I know Zoro's my favorite and he is the bestest thing ever. But with Zoro's case, he was relying on instinct, which isn't bad. I'm not saying relying on instinct is bad. It's just I prefer fights where the characters use their brains to figure out how to defeat the opponent. But in Usopp's case, he uses trickery to defeat the opponent, which is one of like my favorite aspects of this fight. It's just like you trick the opponent, and then it's like I don't know. Maybe it's because I grew up reading Percy Jackson, and that's literally all he does. He
Hmm.
just tricks the monster that he's fighting, and then he wins. And it's never about brute force or whatever. Oh, definitely with Sanji, there was a little bit of both of like brute force and like when the trickery was over, when Bon Clay couldn't trick him anymore, it was just brute force between the two of them, and I like that aspect. So I like Sanji's fight as well. But Usopp's fight is my favorite. And Nami's fight is probably because Zoro's fight is so cool. So it's Usopp, Zoro, Nami, and then Sanji. Even though I love all of them equally.
They are
See, this is
really
why I
good.
hate
Like, all of them are
ranking.
really good.
I hate ranking because it doesn't reflect the fact that all the fights are different fights.
No, they're all
Like
great.
with Usopp, it's trickery. With Nami, it's she's using her brain. With Zoro, he's using instinct, and Sanji is just using brute force. and it's all different. They're all good in their own ways. And I love Usopp's fight because Chopper is in it, and Chopper's a new character that we haven't gotten a sense of yet, you know? But with his interactions with the crew, and especially here with Usopp, you really get a sense of how he respects everybody and how he looks up to them, but how he protects them as well.
Hmm.
And it really, he like was worried about Usopp a lot during this fight because Usopp was worried about himself and wasn't really thinking and all that stuff. So I really like that it fleshed out Chopper and it made Usopp courageous, which is what his goal is. He was very courageous in this fight after a little
Definitely.
bit.
I think one of my favorite parts of that fight too is their pairing. It's like, you know, Usopp uses his Usopp pound, right? And one of the reason it tricks them so well is Chopper genuinely believes it, right? He's been listening to all of Usopp's great tales on the boat, and oh, we slayed me, the great Usopp, I slayed the Sea Kings and the Calm Belt, and I did this and that, and basically telling Chopper he's done all of the crew's accomplishments single-handedly all this time. So Chopper thinks of Usopp as this god, right? Because he hasn't seen him fight. He's only heard him speak of how strong he is. So there's no reason for Chopper to not believe that Usopp can use a 5-ton hammer. You know? Like, and Chopper's gullible. One, he's gullible, and two, he's been listening
What?
to Usopp tell him all these stories and how strong he is and all this. So that aspect I really like, and then obviously, like you were saying, like, you know, this moment really stuck out for me. Like, I remember this is when I really, really started to like Usopp in my last manga read. Uh, like he was already way better. I already liked him way more than I had watching the anime, but this moment just solidified like, oh, all right, no, he's great. Like his greatest strength here is like his true courage here. Like he's terrified and he's still fighting, you know? Um
And why is he still fighting? Because they made fun of Luffy. And
well, his dream.
I think Usopp is the first one to say that Luffy's gonna be the Pirate King out of the
Hmm.
crew. I think that's what happened. Ah, those legendary lines. I love it. It's just when people in the crew start saying that out loud, not just like Luffy says it all the time, I'm gonna be the Pirate King, you know? But
Hmm.
like when the other
Zoro
people in the crew
calls him the
say it,
Pirate King, or when
yeah, or like they say it when he's
yeah,
not there. It just shows how much they believe in him. And I
right.
think that's like what made me love Usopp is that he was defending. It wasn't a fight to defend Vivi or anything or country or anything like that. It was a fight to defend his friend's honor, and he won it using trickery, using his
Hmm.
best skill set.
Well, and
It showed
using
his
sheer
strength.
tenacity. I mean, he got the shit beat out of him. He got every
Yeah,
bone in his body broken. Like,
full body cast.
if there's one thing he has going for him, aside from his like conniving and cunning like plans, it's his tenacity. He just doesn't stay down. He just gets all his bones broken. He's not on the strength of, a Sanji, Zoro, Luffy, but he gets back up. He
Yeah.
gets every bone in his body broken and then stands back up. And that is quite impressive.
You know, me and my sisters, we like to say it's when Usopp's nose is broken, you know, that ish is getting real. Yeah. You didn't like the Usopp fight, I know, girl. Can I know why? Can you at least tell me?
Um, there was no, there were no stakes, and I didn't like the gags. That like that's it. I didn't hate the gag in Sanji's fight, and therefore I liked it more. I didn't dislike the gag as much in Nami's fight, but still didn't like it, so therefore it's in third place. Zoro didn't really have any gags in there, but I liked the good parts of Sanji's more, so that's it.
I mean,
It's hard to talk
and
about, like, I didn't like the joke, because there's not much more that can be to it, you know?
I mean, that's fair, but for me, it's not even like the joke in that fight. Like, it's the moment Usopp is like, you know, he gets demolished in that fight. Like, he takes a solid beating,
Mm-hmm.
and, you know, the one situation he's like not allowed to be cowardly in his mind arises, and that like someone tells him, Luffy can't be king of the pirates. And that's like the one thing Usopp just refuses to cower in fear over, no matter how high the cost is. Even if it means he dies in the fight, he's not going to let anyone, make fun of Luffy's dream, Like, we as the reader might know, like, okay, Usopp is fine. But Usopp doesn't, you know?
Yeah. It was fine. It was good. I liked everyone's character developments and their fights. I do like that everyone got something. That's probably the biggest reason why I like this arc most, is that there were none of the crew was just a background character.
Yeah, I
Has
agree.
been the
Everyone
problem
had
with
a
every
really
other
good
arc
moment.
so far. Everyone had good development, like at least to an extent. Like I'd say, Chopper wasn't in it near as much as most of the others, but he
That's
still had
fair.
good stuff.
Yeah.
Probably just due to how long it is, but I like that about it.
Mm.
Another chapter naming thing about this is that when each of the Barak work members are defeated, their number is shown in the chapter. I can't even remember what the chapters are called. Maybe I screenshot it.
Yeah, it's literally just their number. It'll be like
Yeah, so it's just
1, 2, or not 1, I
so
guess.
it started from 4, so it's like a countdown too, and it feels like a countdown to something big,
Oh,
right?
you're right. Yeah.
So it starts with 4, and then because Mr. 3 is already destroyed, it goes to 2, Bon
Mm.
Clay, and then 1, and then when it happens when Zoro defeats Mr. 1, because Nami already defeated Double
Double
Finger for
finger.
4.
Which, by the
So
way, double finger, the holiday, it's New Year's, like 1/1. That's the thing with double finger.
uh, I could never understand that for the longest time. I didn't even know
Yeah.
what it was. I didn't know it
So
was New
it's
Year's.
1/1 New Year's.
They
Hence
call
the.
it Double Finger in Japan?
Hmm. Well, no. It's a play on New Year's.
Oh, okay.
It's like if you were to, because people wrote into Oda like, what in the world does double finger mean? He's like, well, if you hold up 2 1s, it's 1/1. It's New Year's. It's double finger.
Damn you, Oda.
It's like a shitty
Uh,
puzzle game puzzle. What holiday
yeah.
is double finger? What? What did you guys think of Zoro's fight? Before we move on, and like, I don't want to skip over a crew fight. You know what I mean?
It was good. I
Did we
liked it
talk about Sanji already?
I don't know if we did,
a
but
little
we
bit.
can also go more into that. Do we want to go with
Uh,
Sanji's first?
I think so, because we also want to do countdown like they did
Sure.
in the manga.
Okay.
So I think I want to start with how the Vivi is outside of the castle. She's outside of the city, and she's trying to tell their, but because their plan worked,
Oh,
right? They successfully got all the Barak work members to go in different directions, in the
split up.
direction that Vivi wasn't going in.
Uh-huh.
The problem is these idiots put Usopp and the camel and together
My favorite
against
character.
Mr. Two.
Against anyone. Against anyone.
I agree. If they were against, why'd they put them two together against? I don't even know. Anyways, so he beats him up in 2 seconds, and
Uh-huh.
Sanji finds out, and I love that Sanji, because I think they go to a flashback later on after all the fights finish. They go to a flashback to when they're making the plan to separate the Barak work members, and Usopp is like, "Dude, I'm with a camel. Can somebody come save me when?" Like I'm dying basically, and Sanji's like, "I'm sorry, I only save women." And then Sanji's the one that came and found Usopp and the camel beaten up. Usopp says this funny line. He's like, "It took him 2 seconds, one person each." And so Vivi is outside, and because Barak Works is has infiltrated basically all parties involved in this rebellion, she has no chance to get to Koza and tell him in time. And I took
Mhm.
a screenshot of the awesome panel where she's
Oh,
shouting out his
God.
name, "Leader!"
He just
and
rides
he
on
passes
by.
her. Oh, it's so heartbreaking. Um, but then she's gonna be stampeded on, but Karu, the best duck in the
Goat. The
world.
absolute goat of this arc. Oh my
Yeah,
god.
he is. He is the MVP. Yeah, without him, Alabasta would be dead. but he's on top of her, and I really like that whole moment where we going to Vivi and seeing her struggles and stuff like that outside of the thing. And then after the stampede leaves, Usopp shows up out of nowhere. Were you shocked, Inagra, when Usopp showed up out of nowhere
I
in
was
this
wondering
panel?
that as well. I had that written down.
Not
Do
that
you
I
remember this
remember.
aggro?
Kind
So,
of, yeah.
Bond shows up disguised as Usopp on a white stallion.
Oh, well, that,
Hello,
yeah,
I'm here
yeah.
to help
Yeah,
you.
obviously, totally him, yep.
Okay.
You knew?
Yeah,
Okay.
obviously, yeah.
And
It was kind of obvious. At
Mostly
least after,
because of the
like, a
white
panel.
horse.
The white horse and the fact that,
and
like, he should be somewhere else.
Uh-huh.
yeah,
Uh,
that's a good thing.
and it's not in
Um,
character for
and
him.
Yeah.
and the way he says, "Let that bird go," like nonchalantly,
That's the
even though he
obvious one,
fought
yeah.
Well, right.
with,
It's
Yeah.
the
even though
way
he
he was
fought with
acting
Karo
is
on Mill
not in
Garden.
character for Usopp around the other crew members. It is in character for Usopp around other people who are not the crew members.
That's a good way to think about it.
And
Um,
Vivi, also around Vivi. I did actually
I
yeah,
really like the
and
whole
I
the band coming into play.
I liked the panel of where is it? I have it right. Oh, I have it right. I have it right. We're just
here,
gonna keep going.
there,
I took like 30 screenshots.
anywhere.
Why'd I do this? They're all in black and white. They're hard to tell from far away.
It took so many.
But the
Um,
when he's like, yeah, there it is. It's right at the beginning actually. When Vivi's wondering how how to know, and you got the like, I liked the immediate like she knew. But wait, is this from last arc?
No.
Okay, no, it's not. That's right. Okay, sorry, it's like the first one I have. So I was like, wait a second.
yeah, it's pretty close to the beginning of
Yeah,
part
I
two.
read this a week and a half
Yeah.
ago.
It's
This is
like
the
the first or second chapter.
But like him acting confident and her immediately knowing, like going,
Mm-hmm.
And then
like I
he
liked
shows
that. I liked that
the
panel.
bandage,
Yeah, he's
Yeah,
like, "Look,
where he
I
shows
have the
the
band."
bandage,
I don't
and
know
then she's
why
like,
that
"That's
one.
not him."
Yeah, I don't know why that one stood out, but that like particular paneling I really liked of
Uh-huh.
him on the
The
right side
paneling in this.
with her looking off to the right in that panel on the left side.
Hmm. The paneling and art in this part of the arc is really also really elevated it for
Mm-hmm.
me. I took a bunch of screenshots of just like Koza on a horse, like on a stallion, or the rebellion, and like panels where the rebellion and the government, sorry, the royal army are contrasted against Koza's dad in Yuba and Vivi's dad who's been kidnapped, or just what's another screenshot I took? Just a lot of the screenshot where they all say "Too bad you lose," and then there's a camel going "Rah" at the bottom when they reveal their identities. I thought that was really cool. Or the panel where she's calling leader and he's riding past her. That was a really good shot too. Just a lot of really good shots. Or when Usopp is everybody's bloody this arc.
Yeah,
Like even
it is
Nami.
definitely
Yeah.
like intentionally a dark arc, like it's trying to showcase the reality of how, you know, uh, it's like it's a war, it's trying to show like,
Yeah.
this is the reality of a war, this is the reality of uh something like this, and it's not pretty.
Yeah.
And the fact, like you said, I know, the fact that Vivi immediately knew that it wasn't Usopp, and then she started running with Karu, and Karu basically saved the day. But Sanji also knew that he's gonna go after Vivi, and so he goes. He. Karu is basically dead, and Sanji comes in and saves the day. He's like, "Karu, you're a gentleman. You're the best. You protected Vivi with your life. Good job. Leave the rest to us." Like Karu, I feel like he's also part of the crew because he's also got a bandage
He
on
got
him, you know?
trampled on to shield her.
Yeah,
He ran
yeah.
straight up a wall, got
Yeah.
shot, and then continued to run with Vivi until she was safe due to the other squadron members and Sanji.
Good
Come
duck.
on.
Good duck.
That is so badass. Come on.
Yeah. And just like I said, I like Sanji's, and I just like that part of like we're still in Alabasta and it's not just about the crew. I felt like with all the fights, like we got the humor back a little bit because it's been so serious for a while, but also like when we went back to Vivi in those chapters, like on her quest to like this is still her journey of trying to save her country and all that stuff. It was just a really good balance of comedy and seriousness. Like you said, this is a war, but like this is also a comedy series, so
Right,
you
it's
gotta
also
find
One
the
Piece.
tone.
Yeah.
That's true, yeah. So I think that's what I liked about Sanji's fight and all the other fights in general. But Sanji's had the most to do with Vivi, I felt like, other than Luffy, I bet. So that's why I just want to bring up Sanji. I know we talked about Sanji a lot earlier, just but the Vivi aspect of it was really cool.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
did you
No.
guys have anything you wanted to say about Sanji's fight?
No, I liked
Uh,
them being like. I always enjoy fights where they are talking and like they actually get to know each other in a weird way over the fight, and I always like that.
Oh yeah,
mhm.
that is especially Zoro and Mr. One, I feel like they
Hmm.
were the most.
Yeah, the two of them get to know each other and become acquaintances. We'll say. Uh,
Yeah. For me, the combat of Sanji's fight was my favorite of like the crew members. I love like Nami's like she finally gets the climate tact or climate baton whatever. But the idea of Sanji versus Bon Clay is such a cool battle, right? Like they're both so kick focused. Sanji exclusively fights with his legs. Bon will use his hands, but his feet are like infinitely more dangerous, especially with his swan slippers, which are super cool aesthetically and a really unique weapon idea, right? They're like
Oh
these
my God.
steel swan bills that will, which I think are probably also how he ran up the wall, by the way. I
Oh
think that
yeah.
might be shown in the anime, but it was a little unclear in the manga. Um, so he uses those to go up the wall. uh, but yeah, most of the comedy didn't land for me in the like fight, but the I did like the clone montage where it's 90% Bon's face with just Usopp's nose of like, you know, I will
The
make
ugliest
the
person.
weirdest face ever, and it's just his face and Usopp's nose.
And then she's like 90% of that is your face.
He just gets all sad. Um,
I think I think Bonclave is kind of the funnest and most interesting out of all the Baroque works, and I think
oh,
that's
by
why you end
far.
up. I guess why me and you end up liking him so much, just because he's so different from everybody else. Like Mr. Three and Mr. One and all those people, they're all conniving and evil and all that stuff, but he's just like, I'm here for the party, yo. Like,
Yeah, it feels like he has his like own separate agenda. Like, yeah, I work for Baroque Works, but I have my own stuff. Like,
yeah.
not necessarily like own evil agenda or whatever. Just like I do my own things too. Like his
And
crew did not feel evil.
and the fact that what's it called? He at the end of the fight, he's like, "Wow, is this friendship?" And then Sanji just whacks him in
Knocks
the
him out.
face. I thought that was really. I
That
love how at the end of Sanji's fight they say Arubana because they say the location and then who the winner is. So they say Aluban. I can't say the name. Alubarna Southern Block battle at Polka Street. Winner Sanji prize a small piece of friendship? Question mark.
yeah.
I love those. I love when the narrator is like, "Huh, what happened?" and Bond Clay brings that aspect a lot.
Oh, it's
I'm
great.
talking a lot. I need to
You're good.
chill.
I really dug the panel of them like crossing each other up in midair with their legs. It felt like an
Oh, that was
old school like
cool.
samurai movie. It's like you have that panel and then you have like an action shot with that and then the reaction shots and they both fall to the ground and then only one stands back up. It was such a cool end to the fight.
Yeah.
It felt like a great like climax to it. Um,
Inegro, you said this was your favorite fight, right?
yeah,
You said Sanji's fight was your favorite.
yeah, of the bunch. I like some more,
So, like, what
fights later, but
what aspect did you like about it
well, like I said, I
specifically?
liked that they got to talk and get to know each other.
Oh, okay. All
Like
right. I see. I see.
I always enjoy the fights where I obviously every single fight in shonen type things are going to be them fighting and then talking and fighting and talking. But I like this type where they fight, they're on opposite sides, but they get along.
It also worked because like Bon was already friendly with the rest of the Straw Hats. He just hadn't met Sanji.
Yeah.
So they didn't have a chance to have already been friendly, you know? So it almost kind of felt like, oh, cool. So through fighting, he also became friends with Sanji, you know?
That's
like,
interesting. I didn't think about that.
You know, he's the only crew member he didn't get to meet and become friendly with, aside from, you know, maybe Vivi due to the whole capturing her father and all that, and impersonating him to his people. Blah, blah, blah. Starting war. Whatever.
Small,
you know, forgiven.
small
He's
little
cool.
thing.
Sweep that under the rug. He's Bonchan. Who cares? But what did you think of the Zoro versus Mr. One fight? You said that like before you remembered Sanji's fight, that was your favorite.
Yeah.
What did you like so much about that?
Enjoyable. I liked Zoro's development over it. I wasn't particularly like how to put it. I didn't care about the other side of it, but Zoro being there was cool. I liked him going, I'm going to lose or I'm going to win. And obviously I'm going to win, so I'm going to get better.
Because I'm Zoro.
I'm me. I can't lose, except for that one guy. I do still like that like his entire thing of no one can beat me, I'm the coolest. Turned into no one can beat me except that guy. I'm the second coolest. Obviously.
I just wanted to go back to Nami for a bit. I know we talked a lot about her fight earlier, but I love the Mirage thing where she did close-up mirages because, of course, she's the only one who can do that with the Clean Attack. And then you'll see throughout the series that she does this little spiel in her fights where she says what the weather is, like she's a newscaster, like she's a weather reporter. I actually took a screenshot of when she does it. She says, today's weather is clean and nice with the normal amount of wind and humidity as high atmospheric pressures move in. However, please be advised that in a small localized area, there is a chance of mirages and whirlwinds, all the things that she's been doing to Miss Littlefinger. Miss Littlefinger's like, oh my god, another mirage. And then she says, lastly, please pay caution to tornadoes. And then she puts her Claim Attack in position. I just really like I didn't know that she started doing that here. And it's a really nice it's a really nice thing that she does on repeat throughout the series.
Mm-hmm.
I just wanted to point that out before we went into Zoro, one of my favorite fights in Alabasta.
In the epilogue of the series, when we get there, soon, in a couple years. And we have the big last few panels, everyone's doing their own thing. They've all separated into the winds. Nami should be a weather forecaster, just for
she's already good at it. She does it in high octane situations. She'd be perfect.
She'll forecast the weather and then make the weather happen. This is what the weather will be today. I have decided it, and so it shall be.
And then she's bathing in money.
But yeah, Zoro, I'm gonna talk about it for a long time, so you guys should probably get your. Okay. I talk too much.
Edgar, do you want to go first? I'll go second.
Zoro's fight?
Yeah.
I thought we just talked about that. Did I not just talk about that one?
Maybe you did.
You did. You did.
Yeah, okay, you did. You did briefly, actually.
Okay, I was just like, am I that tired?
No, sorry, you're right. You're right. So yeah, let's see. I dug the him fighting Mr. One, and he remembers a lesson from his master, Kuina's dad.
Yeah,
by the way.
Yeah, I know. I hope he's alive, right?
Yeah.
He was the last time we saw him.
Okay, so we'll see him again.
He asked him how do I cut steel?
Yeah.
And his master replied, the same swordsmen unable to cut anything are able to cut steel with the same sword. The peak of swordsmanship is the power to protect what you wish to protect and cut what you wish to cut. And he's like, "What? I don't know, whatever that means. Whatever. Yeah. I'm gonna just cut this guy."
I'm gonna become a swordsman who can cut through anything.
He
says in response to that.
Yeah, whatever, Sensei. I'm gonna just cut the world in half.
Zolo, did you hear a word I said?
Oh. Shut up.
I'm going to throw up.
But my favorite moment of the fight by far is so Zoro gets knocked onto his back by Mr. One, and Mr. One's approaching him, uh, and Zoro forces himself to turn over and face him, even though Zoro's like unable to fight back, because to quote Zoro during his fight with Mihawk, "Scars on the back are a swordsman's shame." So he absolutely refuses to be scarred on his back. Even if he's going to get hit while he's down, he's not letting his back get scarred. So even though he knows I'm going to be like impaled in 2 seconds, I'm not going to be impaled from my back. So he purposefully flips his body over just to get stabbed through the front.
Not stabbed. He got like macheted.
Well, right.
It was
like you know,
spinning
he doesn't know.
blades. Oh god, what was
Yeah.
happening?
That was rough. Yeah. And And then he entered the zone or something at the end there. He could hear the breathing of steel, knew where rocks were gonna fall, and a bunch of other crazy shit.
Ooh, I'm gonna talk about that a lot, but you
Yeah.
keep going. What else?
No,
Did
that was
anything else?
about everything I wanted to cover.
Okay.
It was a cool fight. All of the crew fights are really cool. I mean, all of them were great. Genuinely. What were your thoughts on Zoro?
That he is the best thing ever that happened ever. But also, I really like this fight because it goes deeply into his character. And what I mean by that is I didn't notice this until recently. Like I said, I've been watching the series since I was a child, so I don't really think about it a lot. I just look at Zoro standing in blood and be like, cool, wow, so cool. But I didn't notice that he was wondering, he says, I screenshotted it. He says, like, he's supposed to be dead, the rocks have crushed him, and Mr. One walks away, cool or whatever. And Zoro says, I wonder if the others are all right. You know, he
Mhm.
thinks that. And then Mr. One stops, turns around, and there he is. He's standing all cool like. But what did Oda show us first? Did he show us him standing first? No, he showed us what was in his thoughts. And it's like, would Zoro at the beginning of the series think this? I'm asking you guys
No, definitely not. Of
genuine
course not.
question.
No.
Negro, do you think he would have thought that at the beginning of the series?
Aggro? Oh, I was muted. Okay. I thought so. I muted to yawn.
Sorry.
I did not unmute. When is beginning?
Well, yeah. I mean, I guess I assumed
By the end of the first arc,
new
yeah,
recruit.
probably.
Yeah, I
When
guess
is
I was
he
assuming
not-
He's
before.
not going. I was
assuming like before Mihawk.
He's going. Well, this guy's super strong. I wonder if the other guys can take the other ones. Like I feel like he's more genuinely curious than worried. Still worried.
No, I think he's worried. I think he's worried in this, and like, I think that shows to how much he started caring about them over their time together. Because slowly but surely, Zoro starts to like help people out, like in ways that we see in the panels, but it's not clearly stated. Like we said last time, Chopper's his fur is too much. He's too hot. He can't like walk through the desert. So Zoro carries him through the desert. Usopp almost dies on the end of Yuba, so he carries Usopp on his back. Like he's kind of he pokes the holes in the bucket, but he's there to help whenever he can. And it seems like he cares more about everybody a little bit more. And even at the end of this fight, even though he's injured and he's dying, he carries Nami back to where everybody meets up later, right? Because her leg's been stabbed by his double finger. And so I feel like this is where Zoro's character starts to develop. And that is why this is one of my favorite fights in the whole series as a whole, just because, like this, usually the badass character doesn't get character development in my experience. They're usually just like the cool character for forever. But like with Zoro, he starts to become not soft, but he starts to care about others. He says, I wonder if the others are all right. And I never noticed this like before. And then I watched a YouTube video about Zoro and I was like, wow, he did say that. And then I read it and just like the paneling of it and how that's the first thing that we see. And it's only after that thought happens that Mr. One turns around and sees what Zoro is doing right now. And then all that stuff with I heard the breath, of the rocks, and I didn't dodge them. I just knew they were gonna fall, and
Hmm.
like I know things, and it's just a really strange power up. I feel like Oda pulled this out of his butt, maybe. I mean, if he did foreshadow this, then wow, wow, wow. But if he didn't, then this is just power up out of your butt, right?
He's just
Um,
going into the zone like a sports player, like an athlete.
I guess that's how you could describe it. But all the paneling after Zoro gets up and he's bloody is all just like pristine. It's all so cool. I love it. And it all happens after that one thought. I wonder if the others are all right. And
Hmm.
that's why I really like this fight because it's literally after that that they get ready to attack each other and then he attacks him with one sword, with the sword his sensei gave him.
Hmm.
He's like, I give you my thanks, I can get stronger. And this is one of the most legendary panels in all of manga, I feel like, to be honest.
Which one?
I don't know if you would agree. The one where
Mhm.
Zoro defeats Mr. One and he's like in
Oh,
that stance and he
yeah.
sheaths his blade.
Yeah, that is a pretty. Now that you mention it, yeah, I do see that one a lot. That is a
It's
really
pretty
good
iconic.
panel. I did take a screenshot of that. I didn't like as I was reading it stand out as like that's a super iconic one. But now that you mention it, yeah,
Did not stand out enough for me to screenshot it or remember it.
that's fair.
Oh,
It was a two-page, like it was a double-page panel.
I'm dealing with incompetence. Uh, Yeah, and that's my little spiel about this fight. It's literally just character development for Zoro. Just like really small character development though. It's
Yeah,
inches.
same for
We're
all of
taking
them.
baby steps. That's true, yeah.
Good
It's baby
development.
steps.
I definitely think the crew fights were the weakest part of the arc.
What?
Overall, yeah,
I don't
definitely
even
the least interested I was. They were still good. Again, like I said, this is by far the best arc. I just
I
think
guess
that was
that's fair. Like it's the weakest part of a
it's
great
the
arc.
weak.
I
It's
don't
still very
agree,
good.
but I
They had
can.
been in
You
one of
know,
the
you're not
previous
saying they're
arcs.
bad,
No, they're very good. I'm just saying, like,
right?
in comparison to everything else, they are the least interesting part
I
of
guess that's
the arc.
fair. If you're interested in the intrigue of the war and the like, what is Vivi doing, then I can understand. Like, okay, fight, whatever, fight, whatever. Fight.
Yeah,
Vivi.
that's kind of how I was doing it. Of okay, well they're
Yeah.
fighting, they're still fighting. Oh, there she is. Oh, okay, 3 chapters later.
Yeah, for me that was
you
not
know,
the experience, but I can understand reading through the first time, being like, "Oh, what's happening? Come on!"
for me it was the opposite. I used to love these fights more than what was happening in Alabasta because of how much I didn't like the arc as a whole because of the first part. But now that the first part has been ironed out for me, it just made this part so much more fun because I already enjoy the fight so much.
Hmm.
And it's just like going back and forth. It's like you're eating pizza, then you're eating ice cream, and then you're eating pizza, and then you're eating ice cream. It's nonstop. It's nonstop junk food. You're getting what you want, but not what you need, I guess.
Yeah.
If I'm using the metaphor correctly, I don't know, my brain is.
You might have lost it at the end, but you're pretty
Uh,
good until then. Uh,
yeah, just oh god. And the art in Zoro's fight is probably the best art in the entire arc, I feel like. Just with his bandana and the blood and the paneling.
I don't know if I agree with that, but
Gonna
I can
disagree.
understand
Yeah.
why you think that.
Oh, but you know what? Out of the crew fights, I think Luffy. We can't talk about Luffy versus Crocodile yet, can we? Or do we have to
No, we should
do
talk about
Vivi's
the
side
Vivi
quest?
stuff. We should talk about the
Fine,
Vivi stuff.
whatever. Man, when I'm just gonna say it, when Luffy came on Pell, I like fist bumped. Like I was just like, yeah, it's time, let's go! I was so ready.
Okay, so are we done with the fights, the crew fights?
The crew member fights
Okay.
that, like, excluding Luffy Crocodile, we'll get
I
to that
think
later.
it's time we talked about the true low point of the arc. The kicking claw force.
Oh, I totally agree. What a travesty. What worthless
Look how
force.
cool we are. We just
Useless.
killed ourselves and then died before that
He
could
just
happen.
evaded them. He was like, whatever, bro, I'll just evade. You
We're
just drank a
here. We
suicide
got
potion,
no
I'll just
setup.
dodge.
We were never mentioned before now.
You literally can't touch me, I'll dodge.
It really
You
felt
didn't
like
think this through at all, did you?
it felt like he drew 4 characters.
Oh my god, guys!
And then was like,
Calm
wait,
down.
oh no, I have to fit him in here somehow.
They were
You're
the most
roasting them too
worthless,
much. Guys.
worthless people
Were
in
they even
One
there
Piece.
for half a chapter?
Gaimon was more interesting.
Like,
Bring back
I don't-
Kuina.
that could have been cool.
They could have made Kuina one of the kicking force.
Literally. We make our own kicking, because the kicking force 2.
Yeah. Let's make our own Alabasta Royal Guard.
Okay, we got Kuina. She's the first.
Kuina, Tuina.
Oh wow. They literally all you had to do mention them a couple times before now. Say they're coming after them or something.
They just appear.
Literally talk about them one time ever before now.
They were never mentioned
Never.
until they showed up to die.
Nope, not a single time. I would remember them.
What were they there for, other than to enrage
Guys.
Shaka? It's like Krillin in
Calm
Dragon Ball. He's there to
I'm
explode.
sorry,
That's his purpose.
We have to do it. It's like how?
It was so worthless.
Why? Why didn't you just cut it?
Just
cut it.
take them out.
Make Birdman do everything they did. Like
The Duck Squadron were more interesting
could've had the
characters
Duck
than the Kicking
Squadron
Claw
do it.
Force.
Why didn't you just have the duck kill off the Duck Squadron?
Honestly, I agree. Screw it. Have the ducks drink the suicide potions.
That'd be cool. That'd be awesome.
Everyone but Karoo drinks the suicide potions.
It made one of them be able to talk now. And
One of them becomes a
that's it.
psychic.
Yep, the end. Anything.
Anything is more interesting than what happened.
You could. Okay, here's what you do. You mention them once beforehand, one time. Like 10 chapters earlier, 20.
As like an elite
then-
royal
mhm.
force who
And
has
then-
decimated enemy armies in the past.
And then you have them do something, like 5 chapters.
Impressive.
Before. Anything.
Once.
And mildly impressive. Not even
yeah.
super impressive. And then you have them come in here and be like, we're the
And
coolest
die.
ever. Literally throw in 2 filler chapters where they're fighting. I don't care at this point. Just throw in 1 or 2 chapters where they fight.
I'm dying.
And then it's solved. But no.
Yeah.
They're gone.
You guys are
Rest
killing
in
me.
keep. They're when we do the every single character ever in One Piece tier list, they're in the Kuina tier at the very bottom.
No, you can't do that to Kuina.
Yes, I can.
No, she doesn't deserve to be placed in that tier
Yes,
with
she
them.
does. I honestly,
We're still talking about Kuina. When are we ever going to talk about the Kick and
Never.
Claw Force?
Never. Never. You know what? I hope one day. Actually, I hope we are one day talking about the Kick and Claw Force again. I hope they.
That'd be a hell of a turn.
The big final fight where we get everyone we've ever met together to go get the One Piece finally in chapter 1400, and we have the new Kick and Claw Force as part of Alabasta's army.
Guys,
Ugh.
why are we talking about this for so long?
It was so bad we
I
needed
did
to.
not-
Name this
I
episode
didn't
the
even
Kick and
think
Claw Force.
we were gonna mention it.
The Kick
I
and
didn't even
Claw
think we were
Force.
gonna mention it.
Alabasta Part 2.
We need to have
The Kick
a
and Claw
chapter
Force.
in the YouTube section of the Kick and Claw Force rant.
Just
I
make
didn't
it its
even
own
care. I
mini
didn't even think
episode.
we were gonna mention it. Oh my god.
Yeah, that's
You
the
guys
point.
are
That's the point. You
crazy.
didn't even think we were gonna mention it.
Exactly. They were just there to get Chaka mad. That's it. Chaka was alright. He has the form of
I
a jackal, which is like the it fills in the the Pell the Falcon, Chaka the Jackal, two very significant animals within Egyptian mythology.
He was okay.
Jackal,
I didn't
which is like
him much. He was
Anubis,
there.
Pell, which is like is Pell definitely Ra. I don't know if Set is a falcon. I think I'm wrong about that.
Crocodile is definitely Set because he controls sand and he is the villain of the arc and he's associated
Oh, you're
with
right.
a lot of red.
You're right.
So Crocodile is Set.
Yeah, Pell would be Ra. I
Pell
think.
is Ra.
Or
and,
Horus. Horus might be the other falcon.
Horus is a better example because Horus fights all the time. So Pell would be
Yeah,
Horus.
I knew that there were two
And
falcons.
then-
I couldn't think of the second.
And then Chaka is Anubis, which is
Yeah.
weird because Pell is the one who ends up dying, even
Yeah.
though Anubis is the god of death in Egyptian mythology.
Mhm.
Weird stuff. But Pell doesn't
Chaka's
even
just
end up
there to
dying.
guide him.
That's funny. Um, I think from a editorial manga standpoint, I think One Piece was getting so popular that the editors were just telling Oda to do whatever he wanted, and he kind of did this, and they were like, "Dude, bro, maybe you shouldn't have done that," and he's like, "Yeah, maybe I should have done that," and he made them so quick, and then that's what happened. Like it was like an editor was like, "You should have put this in," and he's like, "But I already drew them." And he's like, "Okay, put them for half a chapter," and he's like, "Okay." Maybe that's what happened. I like to give the author the benefit of the doubt. And I think he learned from his mistakes. I don't think he ever does this ever again.
Oh, I can't wait. I'm very excited for Kuina too.
You said that, and now Aggro will be keeping an eye out for the Kicking Claw Force too.
Oh,
every
man.
single chapter.
Honestly,
He'd be like, "This isn't gonna show up again. They won't show up again."
I'll be honest. If you
And then
like,
every time we're just gonna have to wonder, will they?
yeah, I assume we were just gonna mention it for 2 seconds and then move on. Never gonna forget this now. When we finish this show and go to a what weekly or monthly recap of the chapters that came out.
The final part of every episode will be, is the Kicking Claw Force back?
The Claw Force check-in. No, the beginning of every episode. We gotta do the beginning, because when they finally come back, it's gonna be the hypest thing.
Biggest
that
pop off ever. Hey, you could think of it as Chaka is meant to be Anubis. So really, Chaka just led them all to their deaths. And it's all Chaka's fault.
Background frame with 200 characters in it, and we're gonna be like, it's the Kicking Claw Force. They're back somehow. Somehow they're alive.
We need to stop talking about this. Let's move on.
Never.
So Vivi had a pretty crazy plan, which I like. Mm-hmm. She's like, okay, we're blowing up the palace. The palace is going kaboom, baby. We're blowing it up. We're disrupting the fighting, and I'm talking to the rebels. The people are the kingdom. Chaka. But unfortunately, Crocodile's appearance kind of put a very fast end to those plans.
He is kind of ugly.
And Crocodile revealed his plan, which Operation Utopia. He wants to acquire Pluton, and he said it's a super weapon that can vaporize an entire island.
Okay, so just
any thoughts on that?
I kind of just like lost it somewhere in there because I took a break between chapters.
Huh.
To be clear, they got to I know this is a little bit later on, but they get to the basement. It's not there. It's just not there.
Pluton, you mean?
Yeah, like the thing they wanted is just not there.
So they find the poneglyph.
Okay.
They find a poneglyph.
Yeah, what is
that? It does not have information on where
just
Pluton is.
To me what that is, because it got kind of confusing in there.
We're not telling you anything, Lucian. Do not tell him
anything.
I'm not telling
him anything.
Tell me what they said.
I'm not. What I'm saying is that glyph is like writing, words like hieroglyph.
Okay, ancient writing.
So it's basically a big box with writing on it.
Okay, cool. Got it. I thought I just wanted to
this big box with writing did not have anything about Pluton on it.
Got it. Okay, cool.
Crocodile thought it would. He was wrong.
Got it. So just keep that in mind. Did we ever find out why he wanted that?
It's a giant super weapon, and he wants military power.
That's right.
It can vaporize a whole ass island.
You're right. Okay, never mind. I remember now.
He said that by having that, he doesn't really have to answer to like the government even. Like he's too powerful if he has a super weapon like that even the government doesn't have control over him.
Okay.
I think to be fair, Crocodile's plan was foolproof, to be honest. It was really good. Like he was accounting for all situations, and then Miss All Sunday, or aka Nico Robin, lets Vivi and what's his name? Okay. Vivi and Igaram reveal his identity, and that literally starts the downfall of his plan, because Vivi meets the Straw Hats, and then the Straw Hats become friends, and then they're like, we gotta defeat this guy, and that's literally the only reason why he failed.
You're being too nice to Crocodile. You're being too nice to Crocodile.
I agree with Saflam.
Not planning for Robin betraying him, moron. Idiot.
No, I think he did. But he fully expected Robin to betray him. Like, he expected that. Remember at the poneglyph when they were there? Like, they both betrayed each other. They both knew they're both going to betray each other. Mm-hmm. Again, he never trusted her, really. I don't think. But
I love how you just reminded me. I'm sorry, but when Robin fights Pell, she's like, power and speed are nothing to me. But then when she's dealing with Crocodile, she has to use like water to actually get a hit in. because he's sand. Like she can't put her hands on him and break his neck because he'll just evaporate right into sand. So it's
Yeah,
just like the one opponent she couldn't fight was her boss. I think
right.
that's cool.
Exactly. And yeah, no, I agree with Saflam on Crocodile though. I think the reason he's such a good villain in my eyes is he's super intelligent with his plans. Like he locks them away in the cage in the last part, right? He threw away uh, a key. He didn't throw away the real key, just in case
Yeah.
they somehow managed to get it. Now, unfortunately for him, Mister Three, ends up there, and they use a wax key to get out, right? But
Mhm.
he can't plan that far ahead. With
See
the
you
plan
later,
to
dumbass
bomb
gator.
the square, he makes sure even if the crew manages to stop the fuse from going off, the bomb's on a timer. So like
Yeah.
he's really making plan A, plan B. Like okay, let's assume something goes wrong. Here's what will happen. And he's the first villain to do that.
He wasn't
And I don't.
paranoid enough. He did not come up with a plan E.
I mean,
Yeah, he is, and
maybe.
that's his arrogance acting. That's his arrogance being like, I planned enough. Nobody's gonna defy me. I'm so powerful.
At some
Whatever,
point, he
whatever.
was
So
like,
that
"Yeah, this was a good enough
character as
plan.
well.
I
I
mean,
don't need another one to back it up. It's all
it was working for years, right? Like he got the royal army to fight the rebels. He stopped the rainfall by using the dust
Mhm.
powder. He got like
Grand powder.
he created this whole situation. Like his plans worked for years until they didn't. Uh, like until literally the last few hours of everything coming to fruition. Everything went according to his plans. Uh, you know, like even with Vivi joining Baroque Works and whatnot, like it didn't go that far against his plans. But I don't know. I like Crocodile. I think he's a very competent villain, and I really liked him as a villain. But yeah, what did you guys? So
The one
go ahead.
part that I really liked about like all the cavern and stuff like that is when I think I just liked when Luffy came into the rescue, basically. Like I said earlier,
Oh
fist
yeah.
pump. I was just ready. I was ready for like I've never because I didn't like this arc for the longest time, and so like when you finally like it and you know what's coming, you're like, "Let's go, you're ready." And that first punch where he punches Crocodile with the water,
Oh, it's so
it
good.
feels so good. It reminded me of when he punched Wapol, but like this part felt better because
Good.
Crocodile is such a he's a more competent villain, and so
Yeah.
you feel like. Oh, he so deserves this. Like Wapol deserved it as well, but Crocodile has been just so conniving and so resilient and like something it feels like an evil that we can't overcome. But then Luffy comes in and beats the shit out of him. And I really like I like that Robin started laughing when he was like, "Oh, Mizu Luffy," or like what he's like, "Oh, you're stupider than me," or whatever. Like I don't remember what he said, but Robin actually laughed at Luffy's joke.
Yeah. I'll have
And
to. I might have
it,
saved it somewhere.
and I just I like their fight in the castle. It got destroyed anyway, whether Vivi was gonna bomb it or not. And their fight under their fight in the tomb is just it's it's an iconic fight. It's like one of those. It's like what made this arc is what made One Piece like as popular as it is today. Like even more so than anything else, it was Alabasta, and then an arc later on. But this is what people were like we all agree that it's ranked first. It is the best arc out of everything, despite the Claw King Force, whatever Kicking Claw Force,
big
despite
big
that
update on
hiccup.
them, by the way. I googled them. So the top. I want to tell you the first two search results. Number one, the Sumegari Guards. They're in
Yeah, Suna. Like I
they're
think
in a
Sand.
sub list in a Wikipedia
Yeah,
page.
Sand Kingdom
The
Guards. I think.
second result, some tweet from 2019 making a joke about them that got 9 likes. That's it. That's all. That's all of it. We can move on.
And there's a moment when Luffy catches Vivi and she says, "Nobody can hear me. Like I'm going to lose
Oh,
because Crocodile said all that stuff." And
this
he's
is
like,
so
"We
good.
can hear you, and
Yeah,
that's
he said
all
like,
that
"Don't worry, I
matters."
can hear your voice."
Hmm.
It was like,
I have a
oh,
screenshot. Let me pull it up. It's so he says, and then Vivi's like, "Luffy," and I love how Crocodile looks at him and he's like, "No, why is he here? I thought I defeated him." It's so good. Croc is such a good villain. Um, and she's like, "Nobody, I'm not reaching, my voice isn't reaching anybody." And he says, your voice reached us just fine." And she hugs him and she starts crying. It's such a good moment. And
yeah.
and the fact that when she meets them, they land at the bottom of the castle and Luffy's getting ready to go back up and everybody meets up and everybody's okay. And I really like that part because Vivi, like, she lost all hope when Crocodile dropped her off the castle steps, right? But
Well,
the
the
moment,
not even the
so she
steps. It's
lost
like
all
the
hope.
top of the
Yeah.
castle.
Yeah. And then when she meets up with everybody again, like it's back to let's save the country. We still, if my friends are still here, then I can still save the country. And I felt like
Mhm.
that was the only thing that got her through this ordeal was the Straw Hat crew.
Oh,
I
for
thought that was
sure.
a really cool moment. And I think
Yeah,
that's why I cried at the end when she left, but we could talk about that later. Um,
yeah.
Another funny moment is when Barak works. Uh, they find Vivi at the bottom with all the others after Luffy left, and they're all like, "We're gonna hunt you down, and we're gonna get up in the billions and the millions or whatever." And then Sanji and Zoro look at each other, and they only have 10 minutes to find the bomb, right? So Sanji's like, "10 minutes minus how many seconds?" And then Zoro says, "We don't have time to waste. We don't have time to waste talking." And then they both just decide.
2 seconds.
2 seconds.
It's a great panel.
I
And
agree.
it's one of the few times where like they're on the same page. You know, like they're not arguing, they're not like beefing with each other. They're like, all right, this is for Vivi. 2 seconds. Let's go.
And
It's great.
then they're all running away, and you see them beating the shit in the background. You see both of them beating. You just, I just love the comedy. I love that the comedy is still here and it still works because it's One Piece. It's not, you can't have One Piece without comedy. And the fact that in such a serious situation, we can have like laughs like this, and Mizu, Water Luffy, like
Oh
how is
yeah,
Water Luffy? Yeah, Robin laughed at Water Luffy.
that
She
was
didn't
what she
laugh
laughed
at,
at. Yes, it
oh
was Water Luffy.
God, like imagine like this doesn't happen in Bleach or Naruto or like any other series like Black Clover. I don't even think, even though I love Black Clover, like I can't think of a series that does this. Can you guys think of anything or like
Where it uses
the end of a
comedy,
movie?
but you know, it will also be used in a serious way.
Yeah. Like
Uh,
he's like Luffy's 100% serious right now. He's like water Luffy and then he's like, "Oh
right.
crap, I'm leaking." And then Crocodile's like, "Is this Brett serious? Like what is
When you
going
think of it,
on?"
right, like his power is rubber, right, and so that's not inherently a good ability. It kind of sucks. So it's because of Luffy's imagination and his like how imaginative he's able to be with his skill set that Luffy is as strong as he is. Because if I got the rubber fruit, I'd be worthless. You know, like it's
Mr.
not
Three
a good
talks about
fruit.
that actually. In the
Yeah,
little garden, Mr. Three is like, if anybody else had the candle fruit, they wouldn't know how to use it. I'm the one who got it, so I'm like, but I have the brain to use it basically, and it's the
yeah, it's
same
like
thing with
Nami with her
Luffy.
climate act,
I'd
you know,
like to
or the
Yeah.
mention,
Kabuton.
by the way, I feel like fruits are going to be like stands where I don't know the exact lore, but I know stands like draw the users to one another, and all like
Yes.
they always
Interesting.
end up with the right person or whatever.
Oh, so you think the fruit will draw the person to them, or vice versa?
Something like that. I don't even know if
That's
it'll be a big
interesting.
deal. I think that'll be a side mention at some point.
Huh?
Because I
That's
mean,
interesting.
the thing is that I don't know if this will be true or not because all it serves is a lore excuse for conveniences.
Hmm.
Like I know in JoJo, it's why is everyone in Florida? Why are all the stand users here?
Why does everyone here have stands? This is weird.
Yeah,
They get to draw with one another.
They're literally traveling the world. How do they find them? In random
Yeah.
plane and train and automobile.
I mean, for me, Florida is just kind of weird. Florida has
Fair.
Disney
If
World
anywhere
hanging
was
above
gonna
The
have
it.
stand
best,
users, it would be
the
Florida.
best shonen setting ever. Not having read or
Florida
seen Part
prison.
6, just Florida. It's just, the number one place for Japanese shonen battle manga, Florida women's prisons.
I think we got a little off track there, but
In
it was
2000,
good. It
in
was good side.
2000s, early 2000s, by the way, important detail.
Uh, yeah, the early 2000s was weird.
Mm.
It's like a weird transition. Like just like the movies, if you watch 2000s movies or you listen to 2000s music, you're like, what is going on with people? Are
The
they
people
okay?
had good taste
Do
back
they
in the
need
mid
help?
2000s.
The mid 2000s, but early 2000s was just like wackadoodle. It was weird. I don't know why I used the word wackadoodle, but I'm wrong with it.
You know, I
So
think the
we
perfect. Oh,
okay.
you go. You have a better transition, I'm sure.
We were talking about music, Water Luffy and One Piece, and the comedy in the series and how that like I was gonna say before we went on that little speech spiel, like imagine like Batman versus Superman and like Superman inflates into a balloon before he starts
Oh,
fighting Batman or
It's like it
or
just
or
doesn't
okay.
work.
Batman.
The first thing that came to mind, by the way, I wasn't able to bring it up, but you mentioned like what is something that uses comedy for serious moments,
Are you gonna say
and
Deadpool?
I mean, no, not really. I was gonna say in general, James Gunn movies and shows, properties. So
Oh
Guardians of the
God.
Galaxy, Suicide Squad, and Peacemaker are the ones that I know him for mostly. But spoilers for Guardians of the Galaxy 2. When the main character can do a super cool power up, and basically for the final fight, he gets a cool power up and can become basically whatever he wants to fight the evil monster bad guy, who I won't say anything about. He becomes Pac-Man. Giant Pac-Man. That's how he's gonna win. He's gonna fight him being Giant Pac-Man.
They
And
even did
like,
it in the first Guardians movie where he did a dance off. He's like,
yes,
dance off,
that's
jerk face,
yes,
you me.
and it's used
That's
for a
a
serious moment. Um, there's a line, in Guardians 2. I won't say it, but near the end, a certain character says that is it's the third beat in a 3-beat joke, and it's also just really it's sad at the same time. So
Mm.
I don't know why, but that's the first thing to come to mind of other things that use jokes for, because it's a joke or it is a serious moment. There's very few things that there's tons of stuff that tries, but there's very few things that nail that middle ground. That is one of the few that come to mind. I'm sure there's a bunch of stuff I'm forgetting, and I'm sure
I
there's a
agree
bunch of
with that.
stuff that I haven't seen or that someone else might think that nailed it, whereas I wouldn't.
Guys, roast him in the comments, please.
Guardians of the Galaxy 2 is the best Marvel movie. Fight me.
I will fight you. Captain America, The Winter Soldier is the best Marvel
It's a
movie.
very good movie, not as good as Guardians of the Galaxy 2. Not one. One's okay, kind of mid. Hot takes here on this One Piece podcast. Cannot wait for the 2020 one Marvel film. The what are they called? The Kicking Claw Force. The Kicking Claw Force.
Yes.
Brought to you by Marvel Studios.
Oh my God, this is gonna be a thing for forever, isn't it?
Ever,
Yes.
forever. We're the only people. We're gonna mention it to someone. They're gonna know who's that. Who are you talking about?
Okay, but
Rightfully so.
Yeah.
I think One Piece has the strength of being a cartoon, so it uses that comedy to it uses that
Oh,
art
and
style to its
not
advantage.
not
Right.
even an anime, not even a manga, a cartoon. Like,
Right.
it feels closer to a Western, like Looney Tunes style cartoon than anything else at times, and not in a
Yeah.
bad way.
No, no, I think it's just the style and Oda's sort of sense of humor. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah. definitely. If you look at Bleach, it's more of the manga like standard. Even though
Yeah,
I love,
even
I
the
think
character designs play more into that, you know.
Mhm.
yeah, I think Kubo is my favorite like artist of
Mm.
like manga artist in my opinion. But I love One Piece too. It's just One Piece has so much more life in it, but Kubo has so much more deep like detail, which isn't a bad thing. Like they both have their strength. But like
Specifically
you mentioned,
shonen or all manga
more like
artists?
accountant. I think all manga. I think I read it because of the art style. I
It
started
is
reading
good
it because
art.
I liked the fashion. I just liked the fashion that everybody was wearing in the
That's fair. They all
covers.
got really nice drip.
My favorite. I saw a tweet
Yeah,
from
like
Kubo the other day. Well,
mm,
two of them actually. One was someone saying you should continue on from that sequel one shot you did. I don't know much about Bleach, to be fair. You should make more
mhm.
of that. To which he responded, as summarizing, I don't remember the exact quote, but basically he said, I'm very good at making things when I'm not asked to, so maybe in a few years when I'm not asked to, I'll do it. Uh,
Sorry, dude.
I think
Ruined
you're
it for
talking
everyone.
about Burn the Witch. I think
no,
he's
Yeah.
no,
gonna be
specifically
a
it was about
chapter to
Bleach.
chapter
It
thing.
was very recent, like
Oh,
this week
okay.
or
Oh,
last
okay.
week.
Oh.
Um, but then someone else in response brought mentioned another tweet he did at some point, I don't know when, where he, I'm forgetting what I'm saying right now. What did he say?
I don't know.
Oh no, this is bad.
By the way,
This is bad. Oh
for
no.
those in the audience who don't know, uh, Bleach is one of the big three shonen manga
Okay,
that came
if you
out in
don't know what
Japan.
Bleach is, what is wrong with you?
Was one of the big three.
Come on, I know there's a lot of I know some of my listeners out there, some of our listeners out there are not very fully versed in the anime manga scene, so I'm going to explain that
Oh,
to them because
hello.
they listen to us and they're very
If you are
nice.
there, by the way,
Um,
I'm sorry I insulted you just now. You're cool and rad. I remember what I was gonna say
I,
now, so good timing. Uh,
uh,
he tweeted, responding to someone who was criticizing his story and art, saying, "Well, if you think you can do it better, then please do it. I would love to read it. If you're better than Bleach, you'll be super successful. Please do it.
that's true.
Until then, stop.
That's true.
Don't tell me what to do. I'm the one who writes it and draws it, so stop."
That's the worst thing you could say about like any artist, to be honest. Is like, oh, I can do better than do it
That'd be
and see what
awesome.
happens.
If you can do it better,
Like
then oh, wow,
If you can do it better, you'll be rich.
you'll
for
surely
those who don't
succeed.
know, Bleach was one of the big three. It was Naruto, One Piece, and Bleach. And Bleach kind of like declined in popularity by the end of its run. And it was because one uh,
The
Kubo was
declining
feeling a little bit more
quality.
sick. Like he was ill. He was ill when he was doing those chapters, which is why there was a decline in quality. So I'm not gonna blame that on him.
No,
And
No,
two,
you
the
can't
manga
manga industry's
industry is
blame.
ruthless.
Yes,
yeah,
it's
it's
awful,
ridiculous.
insane.
The manga industry is
Me and
ruthless,
Lucian were just talking
and
about the mangaka of Gangsta recently, and I think she did something else. But
Mostly just gangsta, but
mostly just that.
she has like lupus,
oh my
and
God, it's
so
never lupus though.
she ended up basically like losing an eye and like nerve sensation in her hands. So obviously she's not able to do artwork anymore,
And obviously,
which is
that is not
quite
just
unfortunate.
because of being overworked from making
No.
manga,
Lupus is
but
lupus. I mean,
it's
you know,
a
that's not coming from overwork. But there are many other stories of people, you
this
know,
is
just being
not an
severely
uncommon
overworked. You
occurrence. It's
can't
actually
become big in
extremely
the manga
common.
industry without overworking yourself to like near death. If you're doing
Like,
weekly, if you're doing weekly.
yeah, monthly is a little bit
Yeah,
more, but even then.
They're both brutal, but
and
yeah.
and Kubo was doing like his art is fantastic, and every chapter like was the art was amazing, no matter what the story was or anything
His
like
art
that.
was
And the
beautiful.
fact that you can draw like that weekly for 18 plus years, I don't blame him for the decline in quality. Just it's too much. Like he's and like bringing back to One Piece, the fact that Oda has been doing this for 20 plus years,
Mm-hmm.
week to week.
And it's
Yep.
honestly just
He's
gotten better. Like
insane
the
to me.
quality only improves, and I'm sure again that has to do with like assistance and no one just
Yeah.
works alone on a manga.
Getting the
But it
team
does come
together,
down to the main mangaka,
learning to trust your crew,
right.
obey your captain's orders, win.
Oh,
Yeah,
what?
uh-huh.
No.
What's the name of the podcast again?
All I'm saying is prepare your Straw Hat tier lists, everyone, before the end of the
I'm
episode.
gonna like get a machine gun and
I mean, this is
Pal!
on you. I'm giving you a warning this time.
Okay,
You have until we're done,
back to One Piece.
which is probably
Yes.
not going to be for a
We're done
while.
on the rant. I'm done with my Bleach rant. Bleach is so good
Wait,
though.
before we
So-
move on, can we
Yes.
Okay.
can we talk about this very serious issue?
What?
Can we talk about the Kick and Claw Force again?
No.
Okay.
Moving on.
No.
Crocodile's victory speech to Vivi was great. Like before he drops her off the wall of the palace, he says to her again. I'm reading the Viz translation. It might be slightly different from what you read, Saflam, but it's like wake up, princess. Your idealism makes me want to vomit. Only those with true power can afford to have ideals. And then she's like, I don't care, whatever. I'll never bend my ideals. You'll never understand. I'm a princess. I'm responsible for the welfare of my people. I'll save this. And then she can't even say kingdom. He just chokes her out. He's like, yeah, what a brat you are. You spied on my organization for 2 years. Well done. But in the end, all your efforts were in vain. Your wishful attempts to pacify the rebels and save the kingdom only multiplied the death toll. This kingdom is doomed. You can't save it. And he just drops her off the edge.
Ooh.
And then Luffy swoops in on Pell. That's when he comes in. Like when she is at the lowest of the low. That is when Luffy swoops in on Pell. Saves her, drops her off, and drops the crocodile. It's so good.
That is a good. It's the same. It's kind of word for word what happened in my version. So
Oh, really?
I'm not gonna. Yeah, it was good.
Yeah.
So they fight on the thing and no, never mind. So they fight on this the castle. Of course, it's the castle where the royal family lives, and they've lived for over millions of years. Whatever. This castle looks a lot like what's it called from Palestine? What do you guys call it? We call it Quds in Arabic. I can't remember what it's
I
called
have
in
no
English.
idea.
Masjid al-Aqsa. You guys know the pictures of that famous mosque from Palestine, do you?
No,
Hello?
I'm not too sure.
If you
I
give
can
me an
Google it.
image,
Famous
maybe?
mosque in Palestine.
I admire geography, right?
It is called. Yeah, literally, if you just Google it, you'll see that it looks exactly like the castle in
I'll believe you.
No. I can't find the name right now.
It's okay. I'm sure this
The
episode's
Great
gonna go a
Mosque
little bit
of
longer. You have time.
I'm
While you're
sorry. I
looking-
should have prepared this beforehand.
You're good.
No.
While you're looking, so as Luffy is fighting Crocodile on the palace, Nico Robin takes King Cobra away from the fighting, and is like, Cobra, you're gonna bring me to the Poneglyph. And so she's dragging him along, and Tashigi and the Navy troops attempt to stop Robin. And Robin's like, you shouldn't get in my way. This is a bad idea. And they're like, no, we gotta stop you. And she takes out almost all the Navy troops in a single attack.
The coolest.
So one of the remaining grunts tells Tashigi who Nico Robin is, that she's had a bounty of 79 million berries for 20 years, and that at 8 years old
And she
she
was
sank
8,
6 Navy vessels, and the government declared her a top-level threat.
Augurs.
Yeah. Any thoughts on that,
He's my
Agro?
favorite character already. You were right, Lucian. How do you know? By the way, I haven't forgotten and will not forget. I don't remember what arc you said would be my favorite. I'll have to go back and look, but I will remember that you said my favorite character would be Robin, and Saflam, you said my favorite character would be Law.
Mhm.
So I'm very excited to find out which of you are correct in a year.
Or we could both be wrong.
You could both be wrong.
That's
It
true.
could still be Vivi in 1,000 chapters. Who knows?
Hey, I wouldn't be surprised.
Let's see. Let's see. Let's see what happens. You were saying something though. I don't remember.
Well, Saflam, did you manage to find the name or no?
Yes, I found the name. It's just the Arabic with English letters. And I
Oh,
sent the
okay.
picture to you guys. I don't know if you've seen that mosque before, but I'll show it in the podcast episode.
Oh, okay.
But doesn't that look exactly like the castle? I feel like. I don't
Here,
know.
let me.
Maybe
Yeah,
I'm imagining things.
I can see it.
I'll look on my phone. I don't want to disrupt the Discord recording.
Yeah. It's just with the
Oh, yeah,
domes
yeah, yeah. That does look very
and the
similar.
pillars. So that's, and I said I wanted to talk about the architecture in this episode, so I'm gonna go on a little bit of a spiel
Yeah, go
Do
about
for
that,
it.
that
please.
because Arab stuff, right? Me from that part of the world. Um, okay, so we start off in Nanohana, and it's basically kind of a basic. It kind of looks like Aladdin, actually. Remember the marketplace where Aladdin meets Jasmine? Kind of looks like that marketplace. Normal. It's not like that anymore in the Arab world. It's more of we have fans and AC now, so we don't have to deal with the heat as much
Thank
anymore.
God.
But there, but there are outdoor markets a lot of the time, like early in the morning when the sun isn't like in the middle of the sky because it gets way too hot. You can't deal with that even with shade.
Uh-huh.
So that's pretty accurate to that. Um, they sell fruits all the time, and they just keep yelling at you from all different parts. And you're walking by, and they're like, "Buy my thing, buy my thing," and I'm just like, "I don't know what to buy." And my aunt is like, "Keep moving, keep moving." So we go to Narahana, we buy all of the supplies, and then we go to Emerald. I'm gonna call it Emerald because that's basically what it was supposed to be called. Fun fact about Tunisia, where I'm from. Tunisia is called the Green State, or Tunis al-Khadra in Arabic. It's famously known to be like a greener country compared to all the other Arab countries in North Africa and in the Middle East, in the Gulf and stuff like that. So, but I would definitely say that Syria and Palestine, they're definitely greener. I don't know why Tunis is called Tunis al-Khadra. It's a weird thing. It's a weird like touristy thing you can tell people like, oh, you know my country. It's like, and it's like, no, it's not that green. Like Palestine's greener. um, and so we go to the Emerald City, which is why it's called Emerald. I feel like that's a thing in desert culture. It's like when there's actually greenery in part of the desert, you're like, oh my God, there's greenery. Let's call it green. So I like that reminded me of that, the Emerald part. But the city is kind of empty, so you can't really see, like it has the same domes and the same pillars. A lot of mosques have domes and pillars on them. It's
Mhm.
pretty basic stuff. And then we go to Yuba. Yuba. We meet Toto and Yuba, and
Yes.
so these are the ones that shocked me the most when I was on reread because I recognize them really well. So the buildings are all like circular, and they have like little sticks poking out of them from not just from the windows but from the top. It's like, you guys remember that at all? Am I describing it correctly?
I don't remember what you're talking about, but um, I wonder. I can probably pull up one of the chapters and take a look.
Okay. So yeah, so in Yuba, a lot of the buildings are round and there's a lot of sticks poking out of all of them. I used to live in Qatar, which is a peninsula in the Gulf region, and they were famous for their birds, their falcons specifically. We have Pell the falcon here in the desert, and because they had so many birds, they used the birds for hunting, right? And so they would have birds' nests, and there's these tall towers that look exactly like the buildings from Nanohana, from Yuba. Sorry, I keep mixing up the names.
Mm.
Um, and so the sticks are there so that the birds can perch, and then there are a bunch of holes on top, like correlated to each stick, where the bird can make a nest inside the hole. And then the inside of the building is empty, and it's just if you go inside, it's just filled with birds. It's like a bird's nest, basically.
Huh. Interesting.
It's really cool, and they have a bunch of touristy ones in a part of the country called, it's like a tourist attraction thing for Western people, most likely. It's called Katara with a K, so that they can pronounce it or whatever. I've been there a couple times. But when I was rereading this, I was really shocked by how similar they look to those buildings in Qatar and in Qatar specifically in the touristy part. And then we go to where Crocodile is at, Rain Base. It kind of looks more Western. It doesn't really. The moat was weird. Like it was an oasis, so it made sense. But it just looked a little bit more Western. Didn't look Arab at all. Kind of. There's nothing
I
to.
think that's kind
There's
of the
not a lot to say
idea.
about
Like
that.
it's meant to almost look more
Yeah.
like a Las Vegas than a
Yes, that's true.
like a Middle Eastern sort of thing. Like, hey, come to our casino. It definitely feels more Las Vegas than anything, at least to me.
That that's a good comparison. Yeah, it's more and definitely
And because
because
Crocodile's
this is
there.
Crocodile's
Yeah,
home, so it
exactly.
feels different from the rest of the nation. And then
Hmm.
we pass the river, and then we go to Alabama, the capital, and it's like you can't even enter the city without going up these stairs, right? The
Yeah,
eastern
massive.
stairs. We saw that map, that huge map, and I looked it up, and I was like, what does this correlate to the Arab world? And it turns out that there was a city called Baghdad. Baghdad. It's a famous city. I don't know if you guys know it.
Yeah, I know the name.
Baghdad is
Yeah.
called
I
in
had to think about
the
what I had to
western.
think about what that word you were saying was, and then I thought, oh, that's what you're probably saying it in the real way to say it.
Yeah, Baghdad is what it say. There's a kha there, and apparently there was an ancient city. It's Baghdad back in the day, and it was on top of a rock, just like Alabama is. And the only way you can get up into the city is through stairs, which I
Oh,
didn't even know
interesting.
that. I don't even. Maybe I can send you guys a picture of it. Let me find it. But yeah, I didn't even know that there was a city like that in Baghdad, and the fact that Oda took inspiration from that to create the city of Alabama was really cool. And then just the castle itself looks like um looks like Al-Quds, which is a famous mosque in Palestine. Uh yeah, the architecture of this arc is a lot of fun for me personally.
Hmm. What do you think about like the ports? Like, um, uh, do those have any sort of real world inspiration, or because it's a pirate world, they just have like, sort of shoehorned in ports? Like, do you know what I mean? Do those have
No,
any
so
real world connection, or is that more a One Piece thing?
so like I said, I lived in a peninsula. The Gulf is like surrounded by seawater, so of course it has ports. Um,
Uh,
I don't know about like ancient Arabia. Like it was just like a normal wooden plank, and you put your. It wasn't anything special, just because it was
yeah, yeah.
in Arabia. It was like if you probably go to an England one, it's probably
No,
the
I got
same
you.
thing,
Just the same.
wooden planks, right? So I wouldn't think anything too hard about it. There was the last city that we go to in Alabasta is the one where Vivi finally says her goodbye. The buildings behind her are really tall towers of buildings. There's not really anything special about them. I, what I would think about that is a lot of the houses in the Arab world are tall like that because it gets so hot, like heat rises,
Oh,
like
yeah, it all goes to the
in a
top,
cooling
and then you live at the
system.
bottom.
So all the heat goes to the top, which is made me think maybe those towers are tall because all the heat goes to the top. But
Yeah,
that's the last thing of significance that I can think about when it comes to the architecture of Alabasta.
that's really cool.
You
I
will,
mean, it's cool to see how in depth, um, you know, obviously you can speak from an area of like expertise regarding it, or more, like personal knowledge, uh,
Rather than
and to
our
see the
no knowledge.
exactly, and to see the lengths that Oda went to, you know, attempt to properly um, represent that is really cool. Especially considering I think from what you've mentioned in the past, there are many times where it doesn't get properly represented. So it's nice that
yes.
One Piece does it well.
Off record, I complained to these two about a lot of
I thought you were gonna
media that
say
doesn't
like what you were
do.
about to say was off record, as if we were not
Oh,
recording
so
it
did I.
right now.
No, no, like off the recording, I would complain to them about that a lot. So it's really nice. And this was like early 2000s, so it's
Hmm.
really crazy that that a Japanese guy can get this right to
Yeah.
me. And you look at like the new Marvel shows, and he's in Tunisia and he can't even speak. He can't even speak. He's speaking gibberish. Oh my God. Just
Now I
thinking
have
about it is
now
giving me a
with
headache.
absolutely no cultural experience whatsoever. I watched Miss Marvel. That was pretty good. I have no idea what it got right or not. So, you know, who knows? But I liked it.
This is not the place to talk about that.
Hmm
We need to finish this. We've
You
been
know what
talking
we
for a really
should
long
talk
time.
about though?
Oh my God.
With the image I made.
Oh no, I
What?
saw that.
I didn't see it.
I made an image in Discord.
Oh,
Now
okay.
you now
Did you
have to
send
put
it?
it in the stream. I meant the stream, the podcast. It's a video version of the podcast. It has to be the thumbnail now. Our heroes.
Oh my God. For those of you who can't see it, it's the RIP, the Kicking Claw Force, August 27th, 2001, August 27th, 2001. Okay,
May they rest in
we really
peace.
need to finish.
My heart will go on.
um,
Okay. We're
Are
talking
we
about
any near
Crocodile's
finished?
fight.
No.
no.
Okay.
So
Should we stop here?
No.
no,
This is
no,
gonna
it's
be a
fine.
3-hour episode.
We knew this would be long.
Break time. I
Oh
need a
God.
drink.
So
Edit this out
hmm?
or don't.
no, we'll just talk.
Okay, you talk while I'm gone.
Yeah. Um. So Luffy, as we mentioned earlier, that Tashigi and her crew got defeated by Nico. Nico Robin. Luffy, after fighting, Crocodile, he passes through that area attempting to find Crocodile again. And he comes across like a defeated Tashigi, and I think it's her best moment in the series, like up to this point. And she tells Luffy where Crocodile went instead of attempting to arrest him. Like, she knows she isn't strong enough to deal with Luffy. She knows she isn't strong enough to save the people of Alabasta from Crocodile. And there's a panel where she reaches for her sword just briefly before deciding on just pointing out the direction where Crocodile went. And it's so good. And from that moment on, Tashigi actively helps the Straw Hats avert disaster in Alabasta through defeating Baroque Works and allowing them to protect Vivi, as opposed to, trying to follow her previous justice of, trying to arrest them at every corner. And I thought that was a really, really good moment of growth for her. What did you think about that, Saflam? Because I know that you liked Tashigi last episode, and you weren't too hot on her at any point in time before that.
Yeah, so best this is the best she is in the entire series, in my opinion. I mean, for
Yeah.
those of you who've read the series or who've watched the series, you know where she goes as a character, and it's really frustrating for me because there's such good development here, and like you've said everything that I wanted to say. She knows she can't defeat it, so she just helps them because that's her justice. At the end of the day, she wants to help innocent people. That's why she joined the Marines. And if these pirates can help her do it, then she has to put down her pride and do that. And that scene at the end with her and Smoker, I screenshotted it. It was really good. It's one of my
Oh,
favorite
that's
scenes.
so good. I love that scene at the end. Like,
Yeah,
her just sobbing over, like, not being able to do anything, and then
yeah,
Smoker's like, "You want to give us a medal?" And she's over there crying about not being able to
yeah.
help. Are you crazy?
That was a good
Absolutely
moment.
not. You gotta give credit to those pirates. And meanwhile, the
Tell him
Straw
to
Hats are
shove
like,
off.
"What?"
Tell him to shove off was the quote.
Yeah, they're like refusing any credit. They're like,
Yeah,
no, we don't want any credit. We're not getting into politics or anything. Uh, so the contrast between how the Straw Hats view defeating Crocodile and how Smoker and Tashigi view it was really cool.
Yeah.
Um,
So take out everything. Take out writing. Well, I mean, you keep writing. Take out everything else. Take out personality and such. Smoker is the coolest character.
Yeah.
He's just
No,
the
he's super cool.
coolest.
Maybe Zoro is cooler.
No.
Or Mihawk. But
No.
I agree. Like Smoker is super cool. He's like the hard-boiled detective of One Piece.
Yeah, he is. And Tashigi is his goofy partner. Oh my god.
He's like, screw the rules.
But not too much.
No.
He's still a good dude. For now.
Screw the higher ups.
I really liked, like, I think Oda just forgot about them though. And
Well, we'll find
and
out
the
about
fact that
that in the future.
yes. But I really liked her I like Tashigi and Alabasta a lot. I don't give her flack because there's actual character development here. But it like when you put it with what happens later, it hurts. It hurts me on personal level.
Well,
So
I
we're
guess
just gonna go with that.
from here I will say I do really hope they get more screen. Don't say anything. No comments. I really hope they get more screen time and both become much more central focused characters in the future. Okay, let's move on to a new topic now.
So, before we get to the fight, there's one other big event that happens like mostly during the fight, but I think so we can just focus on Luffy versus Crocodile when we talk about it. We should talk about this first, and that is the bomb, right? So, do you guys want to talk about that first, or Luffy versus Crocodile?
I barely knew
I don't think there's a lot to talk about.
No?
What's your name, Bird?
I think Pell's death is really really effective for me. I think Pell is my favorite. He's the only Alabastan citizen that isn't an idiot. Let's be real. Let's be real.
It's very effective with the asterisks of it's very effective for someone who appeared in 3 chapters. Maybe 4.
Yeah.
He appeared more than that.
Did he?
Yeah, he did.
I don't think he did.
He was even in the flashback chapters. He was just a silhouette, but he was in the flashback chapters during the childhood of Koza and Vivi.
Then.
I don't know. I think you're underestimating how much he was there, but it's fair to say he wasn't huge. He was
really
definitely.
Okay, this is where there are too many characters, like most of the Barak works and the infamous Kicking Claw Force.
Yes, Obama works.
Too many.
Barak works.
Hey, Rock's brother.
But there are also not enough characters, as we needed more time for this guy to be a character. We needed more time for. I think this is a good time to bring it up. Ingram, what a waste! Why bring him back at all? He did nothing.
He should have been dead.
He literally did nothing. He came back to just not be dead.
So
I hate that.
The reason I didn't get into it last time, and why I will say it this time, is Robin joins the crew. She's on the boat. She is asking to join the crew. Mm-hmm. In my mind, the reason he isn't dead is so that we can feel okay about her joining the crew. If she had killed Igaram,
that makes it way cooler and better.
It does, but it is like, I don't know.
If Vivi joined later, would that be
awesome?
Not cool.
Good writing, good tension built into a character. There you go, pre-made character tension. There you go.
I'll just say it. Like, I can understand why, from a writing perspective, perspective, you don't want to have her
this is what I call
killed a character who was a big deal to another character who's important to the Straw Hats.
I will also say the kid also magically being alive, which you hinted at.
He was not
week.
dead.
He died.
We didn't hint at it. He just wasn't dead, and you're stupid.
They killed him.
No, you're just dumb.
No,
you think they're gonna kill a child in a shonen manga in 2000, and they were talking about him having a bloody nose. He was talking.
Dead.
You were dumb.
They threatened him and made it like they were gonna attack him.
They broke his nose so he couldn't talk.
They cut to just a loud noise panel, like a panel.
Yeah, cracking his noise panel.
His noise. Wow. I don't know if you're allowed to do that.
Cracking his nose noise.
You're wrong, but they shouldn't
We
bring
need
him
to
back
move
either.
on.
Okay, no, we don't.
We need to move on.
No, we don't.
Yes.
This is what I
Yes.
call a fairy tale.
Hmm?
What?
When you bring a character back to life and then do nothing with them ever again.
Oh,
That's what I call a fairy tale.
I see what you mean.
So we're at fairy tale number 1. I expect many more. It's a genre trope. But we can
Okay.
move on now.
Let's
So,
go to the crocodile fight.
okay.
You know what's cool?
Um, hmm.
Blood.
Yeah, I think
What
it's
Coolest
I
moment
great.
in a fight so far. The
what
coolest
I really
thing in a fight.
like is that all of the stuff that allows Luffy to fight in this was foreshadowed. And I actually mentioned that at the end of the last episode, is that there was foreshadowing in Luffy's fight. So he's able to grab Crocodile in the last, like their first fight when he's wet,
Yeah.
and then there's even a panel I think where he gets blood on Crocodile in that one and is able to grab him. I could be wrong on that, but like the foreshadowing from the first fight, which allows Luffy to then compete with Crocodile in the second and eventually beat him in the third, is so good.
The funny thing is that it's Crocodile who stabs him through the water from Yuba and through his body that allows Luffy to beat him. Like he finds out that water is his weakness, but not only that, it's because he's been stabbed that he can use his blood to defeat him. So
Mhm.
literally Crocodile made his own defeat in that first fight.
Yeah.
I think that's really cool. It, like you said, foreshadowed really well. And it's
Mhm.
like it's like a metaphor for Crocodile's arrogance and his conceited behavior and just the way he is. That's his downfall. Because if he didn't stab Luffy where he stabbed him, he wouldn't have lost. Let's
Well,
be real.
there's that, but uh, there's also like the aspect of, Luffy says it to him like, I figured out back then, like when the water soaks your arm, I could grab it. If the water touches you, you can't turn it to sand. That's why you stole the rain. Uh,
Because you're a coward. Yeah, that's
right,
a
like
good
you're afraid
line.
of water. I can hit you. Like if I'm wet, I'll kick your ass. you know. So let's go.
Such a good line.
And then the moment where he's like, Crocodile says to him something like, uh, "Here we go. There's no way you'll ever defeat me, boy. You're not in my league. I'm one of the 7 warlords of the sea." He says, "If you're one of the 7 warlords of the sea, I'm the 8th warlord of the sea." it it's like just instantly. He doesn't think about it. He doesn't care. He's like, "Well, fine then. I'm number 8. Screw you. I'm number 8
It's like
then."
it's like in the Arlong fight when Arlong is like, "Do you know the difference between you and me?" And then Luffy's like, "Webbed hands, your nose," like stating obvious things. And he's
yeah.
like, "Oh, these," and it's like these conceited, like we have a saying. It's like their nose is in the air. Like they're so full of themselves that they can't think about how they're going to be defeated by Luffy. And
Mhm.
that's their downfall, essentially. And that's Crocodile's downfall. And I love the fight in the tomb. It's my favorite. Was this your favorite fight throughout the whole series so far in Agro? Is that fair to say, or?
Yeah. I still really like the Zoro versus 100 people one, but
Oh yeah, that was fun.
this one is this one's really really cool. Do you know what? There's nothing cooler than using blood as a weapon. It's the coolest ever. Blood as a power up, awesome.
It's really cool,
Did
yeah.
not
It
expect
is
it
And
cool.
in
then
One Piece.
I also like Luffy fights in an unusual way, even by Luffy standards, right? Like he changes his pistol into a shotgun attack. Like he shakes his arm at
Mhm.
like the base of his arm to like mix up the pistol into a shotgun attack to make it, to confuse Crocodile.
Yeah.
And then obviously he uses Water Luffy, where he sucks up all the water in the barrel and then spits it onto Crocodile just to make him vulnerable to attacks, and then later to, you know, save his own life after being mummified. uh, so I don't
that
know,
was funny.
like Luffy's just so imaginative in this, and it makes for such a great fight. And that's just the palace. Like for me, the best fight is by far the Royal Tomb fight. I mean, there's such a long period of time where there's just no dialogue. It's just fighting, and it's so cool. It's just page after page after page of just fighting and no talking and just sound effects, and it's the best.
So I don't sound like a
I think
hypocrite when we finally catch up and we're reading weekly or monthly or doing whatever. If this was happening weekly, I'd hate it. I'd hate it. Awful. But we're binging it so I can read it in 5 minutes. Just so in a long time from now, I don't complain about there being only fight stuff. And then, just for context, for the future, I'm sure you'll remember this. You're 2 hours into this episode, and I'm talking about a thing that may or may not happen in a year plus.
I think my favorite move in this fight is when, like, Crocodile revealed his poison hook. It's like very piratey.
Yeah, did not.
And then
did
Luffy
not
just
that.
takes his foot. He takes his foot, puts it on his hand, and crushes the poison
snaps it off.
hook. That is my favorite move in this entire fight. Like, look how much I don't care about that.
Yeah.
Takes his foot, destroys it. And then, and now there's nothing that Crocodile can use to defeat him because it's just brute force now. And we know Luffy keeps coming back. Crocodile's not the kind of person that can get back up after taking a beating, but Luffy is. And so Luffy's going to win at the end of the day.
I think.
Did you? I have a question for you. Because you like power escalation and stuff like that, and you're very critical about these things. Did you think that this was a realistic fight?
I mean, to the extent you can be. I think the thing that makes Luffy so good in terms of protagonist combat skill is that his skill ceiling, to put it into fighting game terms, as we'll say, his skill
I'll translate
ceiling,
after.
is his imagination. He can do whatever he wants, basically. Because there's no hard cap on what he can do stretchy wise, he can just do anything, and you don't even need a good reason for it. You can the reason is he thought of it, therefore he can do it, and I find that very very cool. Yes,
I think that is the coolest part of One Piece.
You're scaring me with how you're picking up on all these things that I never have been able to pick up until recently. The fact that you're picking it up on your first read, it's so many. I can't. It's too. You're so okay. Let's move on. I'm just gonna say that. I'm sorry.
But it's like the first one that always comes to mind, the classic example is the Green Lantern, who theoretically could be the coolest superhero ever, but in most things I've seen him in, which I haven't read any comics, so it's mostly the bad stuff. He's just a boring guy who summons a bunch of rocks. I'm gonna hit you with a big rock instead of I'm gonna make a rocket launcher, and hey, look, it's a spaceship. I just made a big giant spaceship, or I literally anything, infinity, and obviously Luffy does not have the infinite skill ceiling. He only has as far as his body can stretch, but you can just make that up as you go along. You don't need to power him up or anything. You don't need to have him unlock a new power, which you probably still will, to be fair. I expect that to happen at some point. But it's not like, say, My Hero Academia, where the protagonist has the skill ceiling of he can punch real hard and kick real hard, and all his things are limited around that fact.
I think you're looking more for a Dragon Ball type thing where the beam gets bigger, the punch gets harder. Now, instead of killing a guy, his blue beam can explode a planet. That's cool.
The Super Saiyan now,
now his
more
attack is a
super.
planet
It
buster.
is now
Super
more
Saiyan 1, Super
super.
Saiyan 2, Super Saiyan 3,
Thank
Super
you.
Saiyan 4,
Thank you
Super
for the good
Saiyan God,
example.
Super Saiyan Blue, Ultra Instinct. Like, there are 8 things Goku can do. Great Ape mode. It's like,
I'm sure
he has
people
so
like
many
that,
different
but
power-ups.
I've never been a big fan, which is why I may not have been able to come up with a good example of that.
Uh-huh. Dragon Ball is your example.
It is a good example, but I do like the you don't need an excuse. You don't need to have anything. It's just he thought.
Luffy thought of it, so he tried it, and it
Let's
worked.
mix them up. Let's throw the shotgun and the pistol in, mix them up together.
And you can see him do it mid-fight, which is
Mm-hmm.
the most fun part. Is like, he didn't train that. He was just like, oh, my pistol isn't working. Let me shake my arm.
Yeah, that was cool. Uh, Ironically enough, Green Lantern is probably one of my favorite superheroes
Really? Okay.
ever.
I have not seen
Yeah.
him. I have not seen him in very much. I've seen a half hour of the Ryan Reynolds film, and then the Justice League cartoon, and that's about all I've ever seen him in.
I've seen him in the 2014 Justice League War movie,
Ooh.
and I've seen the Ryan Reynolds movie, and I've read some of the comics.
Hmm.
So I've seen the full version of the Ryan Reynolds movie, which is better than the theatrical version.
I'm sure Green
Uh,
Lantern is one of those characters that is as interesting as his writer.
oh
Which to
yeah,
be fair, that's
that's
all
a good.
characters.
Yeah, that's a
But
good way. But he is like Luffy in the sense of like,
infinite imagination.
yes,
The skill
that's
ceiling is the skill ceiling is your imagination. He's like Barney the dinosaur.
Or SpongeBob.
Barney is a dinosaur of our imagination. Yes, I know the song. I'm not sorry.
No, I know the song.
I
Watch
also
the
watched Teletubbies as
watch
a
the
kid.
movie. That was the great. Well, I don't know why we're talking about this. This was over 2 hours already. Let's go.
So,
You know
one
what
of
we
the things
should be talking
Yeah,
about instead?
What?
yeah.
No, don't
The
say it. Shut up. We
I
should
was
be talking about the cool fight.
yes, yes. You know in the anime Lucian, you watched the anime, right?
Yeah.
The best part is when they use this orchestral music to go with Crocodile's defeat.
It's been a while since I've seen
You
it. I would
remember
need to
that?
rewatch
Oh my God.
we're talking like Alabasta arc. The last time I've rewatched some episodes to get an idea of how long was Ace around, because man, that was way longer in the anime than it was in the manga. It was 2 pages in the manga. It was 8 episodes in the anime. But I didn't watch most of it this time. Otherwise, it's been I don't know, quite a few years. But I
So
believe you if you say One Piece music good.
it's not One Piece music. It's like an orchestration from like an old composer. And
Really?
Oh, using
they use
classical
it
music. Oh,
really
I gotta
well.
know what is it.
Yes, they use classic. I don't know what the name of the song is. Let me
We'll
try
have
and
to
find it.
check it out
But
I
after.
now want to know.
a lot of uh, a lot of One Piece fans, they take this same music. It's called New World Symphony. They take this music and they put it to other defeats, like other people that Luffy's defeated, like
That's
in
cool.
future arcs. Like you don't know it yet. Um, and that's like one of my favorite videos on the internet is Luffy defeating somebody else. I'm not gonna say because I don't want to spoil. But with that music in the background, and
Is it
it's
a
just
recent somebody else?
it's Crocodile's copycat. I will say that.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I think I know who you're talking about.
Yeah. So they use that music when he defeats that guy. Yeah.
I can't believe you got that across. Wow. uh but one of the favorite, I love the fight part where they're it's like, screw talking, let's just fight. But there's a moment where they do talk, and he's like, what are you Crocodile's like, why are you doing this? Like, why are you gonna die for a friend or whatever, right? Like, just abandon them and get out of here, spare yourself the trouble. Like, what are you doing here? And Luffy reiterates his reason once again, like, I'm fighting because Vivi will sacrifice her life for her country, and she has no regard for herself. And as her friend, I intend to,
I want
you
him to
know,
die.
do the very same thing. And to quote, he says, "If we die, we die," which is probably the most badass thing he's said so far. And he's had a lot of cool lines, like especially in Drum Kingdom, he had a lot of great lines. But
Yeah,
"if we die" is pretty great.
just his acceptance of just like no regret. The fact that he has no regrets. I think that's the
Yeah,
best aspect about Luffy. That he's
exactly.
willing to go this far because he will regret it if Vivi dies and he
Mhm.
does nothing about it. And it's funny because the bonds that Crocodile despises so much is the reason why he gets defeated at the end of the day. It's not just his arrogance or planning or like all that stuff. It's because Luffy and Vivi are friends and Luffy does not want her to die. It's literally that simple, and I really like that.
Hmm.
And the way he defeats him is so weird. Like he does a Fusen, he does a balloon, he blows himself up, and then he twists himself.
Yeah, it doesn't. It's hard to get across in the manga. I feel it doesn't really
The Yeah, the enemy does
come
it better, I
across
would
well.
say. He twists himself and then he blows out the air so that he can start flying because Crocodile's already flying from the punch he gave him. And then now Luffy is turning, right? Because he twisted himself so that he can turn with the air. And now that Luffy is turning, he can punch Crocodile everywhere. So that when he does the final, I'm gonna call it Gatling, I don't know what it was.
Probably a
Um,
Gatling, I think it was.
yeah, he does the final Gatling. He's turning while he's doing it. So Crocodile is getting punched everywhere, like every possible part of his body. And because Luffy's hands are filled with blood, isn't gonna make contact.
Hmm.
And the best part about this thing is he breaks the bedrock. Like it's so powerful
Yeah,
that he breaks
like a
the
ton of
earth.
layers of product
Yeah.
rock.
And then he kicks, he punches Crocodile out into the sunlight out into the sky, and he kind of reveals his identity by doing that at the same time. If you get what I'm saying,
Hmm.
like he's been revealed as the villain of
Right.
this entire arc, literally and figuratively through
Hmm.
those punches.
Yeah.
Um, and he kind of stops the fighting for a bit because people are like, "What is this Shichibukai doing here? What's going on?" All that stuff, and like he kind of confuses like the thing that Vivi wanted to do with exploding,
Yeah.
destroying
So
her
really, it
home
was
to get the
because of
attention.
yeah. It was so good, and that
Yeah.
moment is a callback too, in my mind. Because
Yes.
so after Pell's sacrifice, right? The crowd just starts fighting again. The sheer panic and
Oh
confusion.
Yeah.
no.
So Vivi doesn't have a moment.
Mhm.
She's just yelling out like, "Stop! Stop! Stop fighting!" Like she can't. No one can hear her, and so she's yelling and yelling and yelling, and her voice just can't reach anyone. But in a callback to Luffy telling her, "I can hear you," he defeats Crocodile, returns the reign to Alabasta, and now Vivi's voice can reach everyone. You know, so because Luffy could hear her, only Luffy and the crew heard her cries, basically, and they made it so that everyone else could, and it was very, very beautiful.
And it's not just that when Crocodile, I almost cried when I heard when I because I forgot she did that. And in the anime, the voice actress does a really good job of like just displaying her despair, and like
Yeah.
because even though like the person that did all this has been defeated, nobody stopped fighting and stuff like that. And I love that part where she's saying like somebody help me, and then there's an explosion and you see Crocodile, and then she remembers what Luffy said on the Going Merry, where he like punches out and he's like, so I just have to beat him, right? And she remembers that when she sees him like basically bodied MMA
Yeah.
fight, right? Destroyed by jujitsu, Brazilian jiu-jitsu. I think that's Luffy's fighting style. I don't know. I love that moment where she remembers Luffy saying, "I just have to beat him, right? I'll just punch him. I'll kick him into the sky or something like that." I can't remember what he said specifically, but
Mhm.
she remembers it. And oh God, just the panel where the water comes coming down the page
Oh, it's so
where it starts
beautiful.
raining again.
Like
Like,
Yeah.
the
yeah,
double like spread.
very accurate for a desert kingdom. It never rains ever. But when it rains, you go outside.
Yeah.
I felt this in my soul. My 12-year-old self was like, oh.
There was a really nice panel, and with, so there's King Cobra carrying Luffy on his
I'm
back
looking at
after
that
Luffy's
right
fight.
now. I have that pulled up on
Yeah,
my phone this very
and
second.
it's like
Me too.
Luffy carries the kingdom on his back, and he takes it back out of Crocodile's grasp and returns it to Cobra, and now Cobra is literally repaying the favor by carrying Luffy on his back. You know,
And with the
it's so
straw
Yeah, that's a
cool.
hats
good.
I love
walking
it.
like towards him on
Yeah,
top.
he's like, "Hey, do you know this guy?" He's like, "Yeah, that's our captain."
I love how Sanji calls him an old man in the
Yeah,
anime, and then Vivi's like, "Father," and Sanji's like, "Wait, father?"
my
He's
bad.
like, "Oh, it's okay." I think my favorite page in the entire arc is we go back to Toto and Yuba,
Oh,
and
that's a nice one.
he says, "Only 3 years. That was all it took. Isn't that right, Rain?" And it's just like for me, from like so like from a religious perspective, this really hits really hard because we have a because Islam was born in the desert, right? So there is a prayer that we do when we want rain. Like we all
Mhm.
go out into the desert and we do like a special ritual, and then we come back to the city. And the fact that Toto had Toto's like it was only 3 years, you know? And
Mhm.
like the fact that there are droughts in the world that last like decades and all that stuff. Like these people probably could have rationed the food and the water correctly if they could, if there wasn't all this like aggression and like a
If there wasn't
CIA
an agitator there
level.
trying
Yeah,
to
Yes.
exactly.
topple the government.
Yeah.
Actively make things worse
Yeah, they probably
and
could have
create a
lived through
rebellion.
it. And so the fact that he says only 3 years is just like the patience that you have to just say that is just Toto's a very patient man, and I feel like
Mhm.
it just reminded me of my faith a bit, and I like that.
Yeah, no, I that makes sense. It's a very very nice panel.
So good.
Um,
This arc is so good.
What do you think, Agro, about Vivi's like struggle to decide
okay,
whether to stay
so
or join the
I
crew?
think
Did you ever think that she would join?
well, no, obviously not.
No.
Obviously,
I mean, I thought when I
it would
first
go
watched, I was
against
like,
her
she's gonna join
everything
the
that her
crew.
character is.
She has to join the crew, right? Like, for me, the first time watching it, right, up to this point, anytime there had been a character that was with them for, like,
Uh huh.
you know, any amount of time, they
Like
join the crew.
by this point, over half of the series.
Yeah, she's been here for, like, basically the whole time. Of course she's going to join the crew. She's been with us
There
this
have
long. How can she not join the
at
crew?
this point, there have been more chapters with her than without her.
Yeah, Zoro was with Luffy for 2 chapters and he joined. Something like that. I mean, it was probably a bit more, but you get the idea. Like, people have been with Luffy much shorter and joined the crew. And I don't know. It's just she was with them so long. I was like, well, of course she's gonna join. You know,
Mm.
th- there wasn't a precedent for someone to not join.
It's
uh,
true.
so
But like Sanji
yeah.
says, her circumstances are different.
Oh no,
Her,
they absolutely are.
yeah,
But
her
my
entire
first time
character, like,
watching, I just anticipated her joining.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I did spend the entire, like, what is it, 4 or 5 chapters just going, I want to be wrong. I want to be wrong. I wish I was wrong. Why? But obviously I know why, because they, like, that'd be compromising on her character, and therefore I wouldn't like her as much even, and it's great. I would like to say, I know you have, like, an extremely, like, personal, important reason for saying that's your favorite page. You're wrong, though. It's the last one. It's the last one.
X.
That's obviously the best panel of the entire series. I'm calling it now. I'm
Do
going
you
to
mean the
assume
X's?
yes, obvious. The
Uh,
hands raised X's. Yes, that's the best one. Like, that's gonna be the best panel at
I
the
can
end
tell
of
you
this.
1,000 chapters later that is still one of
The
the most
best,
iconic
yeah.
panels in One Piece.
I could tell immediately. Like, oh, that's the one. That's the one that goes on all the fan arts. That's the one that goes on all the posters.
Hmm. You will see that everywhere forever.
I could
It's
assume
funny.
immediately. It's the best.
I cosplayed as Vivi when I
Oh,
was
cool.
younger. Yeah, like I was in an anime club in my school, and we did like a cosplay day.
Mm.
And so I drew because it was the easiest outfit I could do. Like she wears a white shirt most of the time, and I wore a white shirt and pants. And I tied my hair up in a ponytail, and I put an X on my arm, and we all took a photo. And I found that photo recently, where we all took a photo in our
Mm.
cosplay, and I raised my hand, and my back was to the camera, so you can't see my face, but
It's definitely like
iconic
one
moment
of
it
the most
is. Yes,
iconic poses and iconic moments in One Piece.
it
So
is.
good.
It is.
It made me
Man, and the
it
fact
made
that
me tear up
Karu is
so
there
much
Me
too.
too.
too. Me too.
Yeah,
I
I
would
never
not like
teared up at this moment
particularly
before.
say I'm like I really like everything we've gotten so far. You know,
But
I
not
like
emotionally
everything,
attached.
but not to
Like
that extent. I did not think
Hmm.
anything would like come close to having me tear up anytime soon.
Hmm. No, I
my
understand
my
that.
first my first notes when I was taking notes after I read it, I said I never cried when Vivi left before. I did today.
Mm.
That was my first note that I ever made when I was talking about Alabasta. Uh, is just really, really good.
It's
When
also like that moment only happens because of Bonchan and his sacrifice too. Uh, like he meets up with the crew, he saves the Going Merry from the Navy, uh, and makes up with them both because he doesn't forget their initial friendship and out of respect of for Sanji after their battle, but also because
did he say a poem when he left? Was that a poem? I think when he's
it
standing
might have
on
been a
the.
Bond poem. uh, You can stray from a man's path, you can stray from a woman's path, but you can't stray from the path of mankind. Scatter, my friends, to the true sky.
He doesn't
Let
deserve
us
that
make it
line.
bloom. Oh, come my way. Uh, which, if we have time at the end of this, I'll go into the "Oh, come my way" thing. But that's great. And then obviously, they get surrounded by Hina's ships. Uh,
We haven't talked about, by
an
the way.
opening appears. No, we haven't. uh, the Straw Hats refuse to escape because of the promise they made to meet, and then Bond's like, "I got you. We'll take care of this. You guys get out of here." And it allows for that goodbye, which I just read, which is incredible. Like that's great too.
I think
Oh
my
man.
favorite part about the goodbye is that I wrote it down. I said, Vivi never really knew whether they thought of her as a friend. When she asked that last question, it was to dismantle the thought that she wasn't their friend altogether. Now she knows in her heart that they would let her back on that ship, no questions asked.
Mm-hmm.
And
Hmm.
then I wrote, Vivi will come back with a smiley face. Because really, throughout the arc, like she thinks of them throughout their time together, she thinks of them as her friends, and that's true. But the idea of them thinking that they're her friend, I think she wasn't sure about that
Yeah, no,
because, like,
obviously, yeah,
maybe it was
definitely.
because her country was in danger that they were traveling together. It was because of circumstances outside of her control that they were traveling together. But
Mhm.
and even after all that fighting and all that stuff like that, she still wasn't sure in her head. And like I could feel that, which is why she went and said goodbye to them and asked her that question, which is
Mm.
like it made me that's why I love this moment so much more because I realized that she thought that they didn't think that they were friends. And I was like, what? But how could you think that? But of course she thought that because she's an overthinker. She doesn't really sit down and take things in, all that stuff. And so when they can't say anything back to her, it's like, oh no, they don't think I'm their friend. And then they raise their hand and the sign of their friendship on the X on the arm
Yep.
is just and then she starts crying and I start crying and oh
And then
a
the
good
crew starts
moment.
crying in the next chapter. We miss Vivi. And Zoro's like,
Yeah.
then you should have kidnapped her. They all start insulting him. Luffy's like, three sword style. He's like,
Santorio.
bro, that's not an insult.
Yontorio.
And here
It's
comes the
very
new replacement.
good.
The
Immediately.
replacement.
Frame one.
Genuinely, yeah.
That's true. Yeah. I think
Hello, I am
the next
here.
chapter, I think I've watched that scene more times than I've watched the goodbye scene with Vivi. I'm gonna be
Really?
real. It's so funny when she comes onto the crew and oh wait, you haven't read the chapter, so I can't say it.
Huh.
But
Oh, I think I know
yeah,
what
I've
you're
watched
talking about.
it's just that moment when she's there. It's just really funny. Um, but we'll read that next chapter in my favorite saga, guys. We're getting to my
This is your
I
favorite
like.
saga?
the next saga is my favorite saga. Yes, yes, yes,
Really?
yes.
I don't disagree. Like, it's great. I love it. It's not my favorite, but I really dig it.
It is
Uh,
my
it's
favorite. I know everybody hates it. I
no, I
know
don't hate it at
people
all. I
skip
love
it.
it.
There are
People are
people that
stupid.
skip it.
Do you
People are
remember?
People are
stupid.
stupid.
Do you remember whatever it was each of you? I think you predicted the same thing on what my favorite one's going to be.
I think I said the most recent arc, but I
Okay,
could
okay,
be. Oh wait, maybe I said. I'll go back and check because it might
okay.
have been
I think you both said the same
the
thing because you said separate
you,
characters and the same arc, like saga or arc or
it
whatever.
was either the most recent one or the last part of this overall saga. Um, but either
Okay.
way, um, so real quick, the Bon Clay thing, right? They keep translating. How do they translate that in yours, Saflam? So in ours it will say like "Oh, come my way," is what Bon
I
Clay
think
will
it was
say.
just "Oh, come away." It wasn't
Okay,
really
so exactly that is what it literally is "Oh, come away," and I checked this out on the Wikipedia. I was curious, and "okama" is Japanese slang for someone who is gay or trans. It literally means a pot or a kettle. This word, again, I'm reading this off like the wiki here. Always with the prefix "o" refers to a gay man, especially one who is viewed as effeminate or a drag queen. The term can be used pejoratively, but within the context of One Piece, it seems to mainly refer to trans people.
Hmm.
So, you know, all the times he's saying like "Oh, come my way," it's "Oh, come away." Uh, so, that's a I don't know. I really like Bon, and
I
that
sure do love jelly
aspect is really
donuts.
cool. I mean, the
Saflam, you know
whole
what I just said, right? You got that? Did you
translation
not?
thing,
Do you know what that means?
the
Oh,
Brock jelly donuts, the onigiri
oh,
thing. Hmm?
oh no! I think we're gone.
Oh, she's just muted.
Okay, good to know. We
Um,
can move on with that.
yeah, but so yeah, I really like that. You know, aspect. We may see uh more of that terminology popping up. It was something that got like redubbed and retranslated a trillion and one times
Mm-hmm.
within One Piece, Okama, uh, like in different translations. So when Toei didn't use the term Okama initially in the Alabasta arc, they changed it to ballerina or ballet, like in Japanese.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and then the Funimation version uh, referred to Okama as ballerina during Alabasta, and then crossdresser in movie 8, which was an Alabasta, like, you know, uh, redone, and then starting with Impelled Down, they use the term queer. So it's, it changes a lot, but Okama is the general term that is used within One Piece for that, and it will pop up more.
I'm
Cool.
back, by the way. I'm sorry.
Hello.
No, you're good.
We were just talking about jelly
Agro
donuts,
made a jelly donut joke.
and I realized you. I hope you have know what that means.
Well,
It's a
it's just
Pokemon thing, right?
Yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's a
it's the
Pokemon thing. Yeah. Okay.
mistranslate, the
Wow,
purposeful
I sure
mistranslation.
do love some jelly donuts.
I've never seen Pokemon, but I do know that meme. Um, one
Um,
day, one day we're gonna have to do a podcast episode where we just watch a couple random episodes of 4 Kids One Piece.
Yeah, yo,
it's
yeah,
bad.
yo.
Don't give it up, Luffy.
Dreaming,
Don't give
don't
it
give
up,
it up,
Nami.
Zolo.
God.
Look,
They use the
I'll
L.
be honest. The fact that every anime does not have a badly dubbed OP nowadays is just sad. It's just a sign of society's decline.
I am inclined to agree, yes.
Give us more awful rap anime OPs.
Yes.
Not even good ones,
The
just
rap
awful
isn't
ones.
bad.
Yes,
The
they
rap
should be
isn't even
bad.
half bad.
I guess it's more just the context of it being One Piece and We Are being the normal opening, making it a little bit worse. But Dragon Ball isn't much better. They just took away the music.
You guys haven't listened to the Arabic version of the opening.
No, I have not.
Oh my god. So
Listen
I
to the
grew up with the
Japanese
Four
version
Kids
of the
one.
opening.
True, yeah, he still hasn't listened to We Are.
Or English.
We should just do an episode where we listen to different versions
All the
of the opening.
versions.
But
The DMCA episode.
I grew up with the Four Kids, yeah, when I was really young, but then we moved to the Middle East. And so I had to watch the Arabic version of everything. And the Arabic version of One Piece never passes Alabasta, actually. It never goes past Alabasta. It stops Alabasta and then it rewinds it to the beginning of the series as if like we're in a time loop. And every time we say goodbye to Vivi, we go back to Luffy in the boat in the whirlpool with Kobe. It's a weird
She really is a
and
member of the crew.
and I think that you know what, I can't say without spoiling, but I think that uh, the people who made the Arabic dub didn't realize that Oda goes into topics that are not okay to show and discuss to younger, because Four Kids and the Arabic dub, they kind of like they're like, oh, it's a cartoon, so we'll
Four
show
Kids
it to
did
like
zero
10-year-old kids.
research.
Yeah, they
Lollipops.
did zero research. Yeah. Sanji
Yeah, he
lollipops.
smokes in
But
every. There's a guy named Smoker with 2 cigars in his mouth, and they're like,
Does he
it's
have
fine.
2 lollipops?
No, he just has smoke coming out of his mouth and no cigars.
Oh man, I mean that. Oh man, now that you say that, imagine if there was someone that just had smoke coming out of them, and they didn't talk about it for like hundreds of chapters, and then suddenly they had fire powers. That could be real cool.
um and so they were like marketing it towards 10-year-old children when it like you guys saw the blood in this arc, like how
There's a
much,
lot of blood.
They use blood
yeah,
as a
like how
weapon.
much could you like how much can you make this more appropriate for children, right? So
Yeah,
you just, and then after Alabasta, it starts talking about things that specifically, you know, children don't think about, and I don't think they would understand. And
Like,
I mean,
and
even
like
Four
you
Kids,
can't
I
show
think,
it
dropped it
on
at
television.
Alabasta. I'm pretty sure even
Yeah,
Four Kids dropped it at that point. They were like, "Oh, we should have maybe done more research before spending all this money." Whoops.
yeah. So it's what was I gonna say? Like after this arc, things get more darker, I could say, and less child friendly, but it's still funny and it's still like fun and adventurous and all that
yeah, I'm
stuff.
sure it always
It's
will
just that
be.
Oda explores more like philosophical questions that 10-year-old children will not understand. So the Four Kids dub and the Arabic dub, which is basically the Four Kids dub just dubbed in Arabic, stopped at Alabasta because it's just like if you keep going, you're gonna have to keep censoring, and it's
It's gonna be more
you
work than it's
realize
worth.
it's not, yeah. Um, and then that's when Funimation came and dubbed the entire thing. I think they're
Yeah,
still
they're like, "We'll just
dubbing.
show it."
Yeah, because it is for older audiences. It's not for
Yeah, exactly.
children.
It's not really
Really.
made for, well, not really made for like kids that aren't Japanese, I guess.
That's true. That too. Uh,
Japanese kids are just built different, I guess.
what Einagra, what did you think of Nico Robin joining the crew instead of
I mean, I
Vivi?
can't believe it. Who could have
But
foreseen
you
it coming?
predicted this.
Obviously, like I mean, I knew. It's fine
Yeah,
though. I
there was
like the way
only
she
a few
did
characters
join
he
though.
knew would join, and this was one of them.
Yeah, I didn't know. I remember her name all the time. I did sometimes. Apparently, I don't remembering her name, but whatever. Uh,
It was funny because like she gets called Miss All Sunday,
mhm.
like for most of the this arc, and so her name reveal was like a crew reveal for you.
Yeah.
That's
Like,
true,
oh, that's
yeah.
her. Yeah. I still
Oh,
remember. I still know. If you don't want to know for some reason, I still know Skeleton Man with an afro, and I still know Law. I don't know what he looks like. Um,
Hmm.
and then apparently I'm missing 3 of them, so I'm excited.
Hey, I'm apparently missing some too. If she's 13,
I,
I'm missing some too.
no, I just know that she's the number 13 in the Weaver card, which is the official like character description for all the characters in One
Oh
Piece.
no, I believe
Like,
you. Like I know that characters, due to like their double fruits and different reasons, have like numbers associated with them. There's a lot of number wordplay in One Piece.
I
I know
will.
that.
mhm.
I will say.
Um,
Actually,
I
you
just didn't
finish.
know she was associated with 13 as like a crewmate number, considering the number of crewmates.
I will say. I'm gonna put out a theory. This
Go ahead.
we'll say last for now. The 10th crew member. I think 10, right? Nico Robin. She makes 7 again, right? So that
Yes,
means
she
Law,
is a seven.
Skeleton,
I mean,
10th. The 10th member, they are a guy, and they're ugly. I say this because I would have seen fan art of them.
How dare you?
I'm gonna assume. Don't tell me otherwise. I mean, maybe not ugly. I haven't seen much fan art of the dog either. So
it's
or
Chopper.
Usopp.
Stop saying dog. Stop it.
Never, never.
Oh my God.
Never. But that's what I'm going to assume. I've seen some fan art of another character a lot recently, but they seem to not be introduced until like the last year or two, so I don't think it's them. I'm gonna assume we'll meet them within the by. I'll assume. I'm gonna make an assumption. How long is the next saga?
The next saga,
Yeah,
like,
saga. Because this is the
uh,
end of this one, right? Alabasta.
yeah.
Okay.
So the next one is chapter 218 to 302.
Ooh. By the end of the not this saga, but the one after that, we'll have. How long's the one after that?
303 to 441.
Okay, what about after that?
442 to 489.
Okay, by the end of that one, we'll have all 10. By the end of
Okay.
that one, we'll have all 10 on the crew, staple wise. Not like Robin's technically part of the crew right now, or she will be, whatever. But we're gonna have a whole arc of her becoming part of the crew. By the end of that one, everyone will be set. Actually, what about the time skip? We have to have that before that. Never mind. Throw everything out the window.
Guys, this is my favorite saga. I'm so excited.
Can I get
If
the
you could
name,
take
or is that a
Alabasta
spoiler?
and
We
make
can
it
tell you the name
better
of the
for
next
me.
arc. We can't tell you the name of the one after that.
What about the saga?
Oh, damn you, Lucian! Damn
No, no,
you!
no, 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 no. It's too cool, Saflam.
Oh, come on!
The next 19 chapters is called Jaya. I will not tell you what is
Yay!
after that because it's too cool. I can't reveal it.
Can I have the saga name?
No,
Okay.
No, you
it's too
can't!
cool.
Got it.
So this next
What
saga.
do you think this saga will involve, Aggro?
Okay, so
Question.
Sorry to cut you off, Saflam, but I'm just before he has any preconceived
No, it's
notions.
okay.
I'm actually very curious now. So we're still okay, big thing. We're still in the what's
Grand
it called?
Line.
The Grand Line. We're still here. We haven't done anything really. Like
We just saved the kingdom.
yeah, but like in terms of progressing the like getting to the thing we need to do, no progress.
Bud.
I know. We're never going to make
Getting
progress.
to the thing.
Literally never making progress. I know.
Do you mean reaching the One Piece?
Yes, I did in fact read the interview where Oda said, once we find the One Piece, the series is over. So there's that.
We're not really making progress yet on finding that One Piece by chapter
No
217.
progress yet, guys. Not enough progress though. So
Okay.
there are other warlords of the sea. We're not going to do another political war arc again. Probably, maybe. We have Robin involved. I got nothing because the first one and second one are very different from one another.
They are, and this one is very different too.
Oh God, I'm so excited, guys. This is
I
my favorite.
I'm glad you're excited about this, and I'm glad you're not someone who's like, man, this next arc sucks, because it's really cool
Oh
and it
Okay.
deserves
no!
to be appreciated.
Okay.
I love
Um,
this next saga. It's my favorite. It's my favorite
It's not my
saga by
favorite, but
leaps and
I
bounds.
dig it.
It's.
It's so cool.
Can
It's
I give
something
like
it's an escape
3
from
words to
prison
describe it?
arc.
as long as it doesn't spoil the thing.
I won't.
I got it. I got
It
it.
is. If this was a video game, this is a side quest. If this was a video game, this is a
And it's
really
probably
fun side
all on
quest.
one or two
But
islands
a
then.
dope one.
That's a good way of
It's a
putting
It's the
dope.
it.
one that
Yes,
everyone talks about as the coolest one.
I love it. It's so fun. And people.
Tournament
Okay,
arc.
so and that's why.
Tournament
And
arc,
this is
guys.
also why.
You
Hi,
got
Negra.
it.
This is also why people don't like it because people say it's not part of
Wait,
the
if it was a
story. They say
tournament
it's
arc,
like a
people would
side
like it.
People are stupid.
quest.
I have no idea.
Do you guys have any more thoughts? Because I think I want to end this episode on BB's speech. I think that's what I want. I want to read the speech and then the
I
episode will
have
be over.
3 quick things I want to mention. Lucian, do you have anything you want to bring up first?
I don't think so. Go for it.
First, I want to mention Django. Did not expect him
He's
to
back.
show up in the plot again, let alone
I
this
was joking
soon.
last week,
Django
by the way. I didn't know
Unchained.
he showed back up.
Oh, he does. Immediately.
He was in the cover story.
I
Yeah,
know
so
he
we were
was.
talking about him.
Yeah, I knew he showed up in the cover stories. I just forgot he showed up like this soon.
But he's there. I don't expect him to ever do anything other than be a joke, but that's fine. Second
Full
of
body is there too.
yeah.
Full body.
Second of 3 things. Black Cage Hina.
Mhm.
Very much looking forward to seeing her as antagonist. Is she single? The important questions.
I don't know.
And the third most important of the 3 things. Wait, where's the screenshot? I had it.
Uh-oh.
Oh no.
There it goes.
Oh, there it is. The Kick and Claw Force, rest in peace, Paladin. Will be missed.
R.I.P.
I promise I won't bring it up this often in the future episodes.
We
Oh
will
my
mention
God.
it, just not this often.
Okay, go on now.
Okay,
Wait.
so I'm ending it on Vivi's speech.
Before that,
Okay,
we have to
fine.
rank
Fine.
the crew members.
Oh,
I brought it up.
fudge.
We don't
Beginning.
have time. We'll do that next
I'm
week.
not. I'm
Okay,
tired.
Prepare
I'm
it for next
reading
week.
Vivi's
Got it?
speech.
We're doing it
Yes,
next.
fine.
Well,
Next week we'll do it.
Not next week. Next week we're doing no normal episode, and instead maybe something from a different series from me and Saflam, since Lucian is
Ooh.
busy. We'll
Yes.
find
I
out.
have
but
no
next-
idea.
One Piece episode.
No normal thing next week. Week after though, we'll be back.
That's true. I have
with
to make a
prepared
logo for that.
list.
Okay. All right, I'm gonna start right now because this was one
Yes,
of my
yes, go for
favorite speeches in the entire
We
series.
have to extend
Agreed.
this
Vivi starts
episode
out-
a little longer. No, I'm just kidding. Please, it's
I-
almost 3 hours long.
I went on a little adventure. It was a trip in search for despair across the dark, gloomy seas. Having left my home country, the sea I then saw before me was vast. It was hard to believe just how many strong islands there were out there. Plants and animals I had never seen, sights I'd never imagined in even my dreams. The music of the waves were quiet at times, gently washing away my trifling concerns. At other times, they were fierce, laughing to tear apart my timid feelings. And in the midst of a dark storm, I came across a single small ship. The ship pressed me onwards from behind and said, "Can't you see that light ahead?" The mysterious little ship that never lost its way in the darkness crossed over monstrous waves as if dancing, never defying the sea, and yet the ship's bow always heading straight ahead, even through headwinds. And then it points a finger out. Look, the light is right there. History may call this a myth, but to me, it is the truth. And so, everyone, Vivi, Karu, and they see them. I've come to say goodbye. I I can't come with you, but I want to thank you for everything until now. I'd love to go on another adventure, but I can't because you see, I love my country too much. That's why I can't come. I although I'll remain here for now, if we meet again someday, will you call me your friend one more time? And then the iconic panel.
My heart.
And that's it.
The will you call me your friend into the arms. Oh,
God, that's
good.
really sad.
It's even better
Yeah.
because Karoo has the X2, so it's like there's still 2 straw hats.
Oh no, is
In Alabasta.
Peru the 11th or 12th?
Yeah, I didn't think about that until you mentioned it, but maybe. Honest to God,
There's
probably.
a chance. Wait, oh no, is it those 2 dumb guys? Why I don't even remember their names anymore. I forgot they
Johnny
existed.
and Yosaku.
Ugh. Please tell me it's not them. You can spoil me on that.
No spoilers here, sir.
No. I now live with this dread inside my heart forever. Well, for a year or 2.
One of my biggest dreams, maybe hopes for the live action, is that Vivi has a headscarf on. They cast somebody. They make her dress up in a headscarf. I think that would be cool.
Mhm.
Because she's on an Arab island, very Islamically inspired.
I
But
forgot
I don't
about
think that's
the
gonna
live action. And now that I've read it, what a horrible idea. Who decided this needed a live action adaptation? No offense. I'm sure they're doing their best.
I think the casting
Yeah.
is pretty good so far.
Oh, yeah.
I'm excited to see
I'm
what
sure
happens.
They're gonna
It's
do
the live cast.
a
It's the live
decent
action I have the most
adaptation.
faith in.
Oh,
I still am not.
fair.
I'd prefer for it to not exist, but if it's gonna, I'm glad it has this much care put into it.
Okay, I think it's time for us to say goodbye.
Yes,
It's been 3 hours.
Yeah, it's been
Yes.
super long, but
It's been
it's an
almost
episode that deserved it.
Probably
That's
over
true.
an hour over our longest episode.
Almost.
But I have an iron aggro. If you want to email us, you can do so at undertheironflag@gmail.com. We'll read your email on air. Probably. You send off now. Plug yourself.
Yes. I am Lucian Graves, your vice captain. If you would like to, you can follow me on Twitter at Lucian Graves. Otherwise, you can listen to me here at Under the Iron Flag. I appreciate it. Saflam?
I'm just really sad because I read that out loud. It's the YouTuber. I'm not really a YouTuber. I haven't released a video in a very long time. But
those
I am
videos
on
still are there
YouTube.
though, and they're good.
Thank you.
Plug 'em.
YouTube at Aflam Gangster, AFLAM, and then gangster spelled gangster. And I'm crying now because Vivi is gone. And I never liked Vivi before, and now I like her, and she's gone, which is really sad for me. I'm so excited for the next arc.
So am I. And I think Aggro will be too.
Probably.
There's one thing in the next arc I know Aggro will be super hyped
Very
for.
excited for Nico. Does someone have a samurai sword?
I am not answering any of your questions.
there a
I am just
Virgil?
saying I know
Wait,
you will be
wait.
very excited about something next arc.
Wait, I just remembered about the one kid's existence.
Who?
I don't even remember his
Kobe?
name. Kobe.
Glasses Virgil, as you call him.
What's up with him? We haven't seen him in forever.
We have seen him. You just haven't paid attention.
What?
He's been on the covers.
Yeah, but it's been forever since
Okay.
he was on the covers.
This
All right,
is
we're ending.
where I'm editing out the.
Okay, that's fair.
The music's gonna come in here, guys. You
Goodbye.
can
Goodbye.
It's over.